and or watching to the Black Eagles podcast, a Beşiktaş talk show.
Ahmet Dursun Sergen aldı. Sergen Bülent yan yana. Sergen Bülent. Sergen. Yanında Tümer var. Tümer'e doğru aksın kaybetti. Tümer topu aldı. Sergen aldı. Gol! Gol! Gol! Sergen attı. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi.
İbrahim'in pası. Zuma. Şimdi Ahmet. İkinci gole gidiyor Beşiktaş. Ahmet. Ve gol!
Hello, Black Eagles. Welcome back to the Black Eagles podcast. Besiktas are back on track. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has the Black Eagles back on the rise. We have today beaten formerly fourth place Eyüpspor and leapfrogged them in the standings. Besiktas are now back in European contention, or spots for Europe, I should say. We were in contention already, I guess. So coming off of the win last week against Trabzonspor, now another big win on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's konto. My name, as always, is Cam Bijzet, and I am joined by my two co-hosts, Sinan Schwarding from New York City, New York, who cancelled a date to be here today. He was going to go to Captain America today, but he wanted to be here with all of us instead.
Yeah, I chose the Eagle over the Falcon. Oh, ba-doom. Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. For the Marvel nerds out there. Yeah, man. I mean, it was a hell of a day. I think having watched the match, there's too much I needed to get out of my system. I'd be distracted for that movie anyway.
In a good way this time, it's so often.
Absolutely.
This season,
Yeah.
It's been therapy with us here at the Black Eagles podcast, but today it's not therapy, although maybe this could be.
I guess you're probably supposed to talk about the good times with your therapist too, right?
Exactly. Because ever since we started doing this podcast back in 2018 now, Sinan, it's not always been it's been more doom and gloom than anything else, hasn't it?
It's been a roller coaster ride, we could say. Yeah, for sure.
I'm surprised there was no one linking the podcast to Beşiktaş's downfall.
Oh man, yeah, I was thinking that. I was just keeping that quiet. So here he is, my other co-host, co-host, Kartal from Glasgow, Scotland, just getting off of another late shift. Kartal, how are you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I had some entertainment in front of the match. The game finished about 7 o'clock British time, so I had like 1 hour left. So towards the end of the shift, not quite at the end, but towards the end, I had some great entertainment in the form of a match. Yeah. It was a great match. We're feeling good now. 3 wins in a row. Besiktas are back.
Yeah, definitely. And Kato, I'm going to ask your opinion first. How much of that do you credit to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Erling Moe and the new staff coming in? How much of the current form of the team do you credit to them?
Well, I think you could say 80-90%. I think the other 10 or 20s, the board doing the bare minimum and paying the wages if they are, which we hope that they are. And going off the performances, it seems like they are. But I think it's been night and day, man. Like, it's easy to see that the imprint of the coach on this team. We're no longer playing those aimless long balls. Besiktas are now a team that attacks with low, fast passes. No longer the aimless long balls, low and fast, direct. It's beautiful to see. There were so many nice combinations in this game today. I mean, see, like, direct. It really is direct, and how direct it is. Like, see, when I'm trying to take notes in the highlights, I'm struggling to keep up with the passing when I'm typing up my notes because it's that fast and quick and sharp. I mean, it's really, really good. A lot of good play today, and I think today was kind of the cherry on top of the last few weeks. I think over the last few weeks we've steadily seen the team improve. And I think today was the coming out party for this team and saying, hey, look, we are a good team. We've been working on this stuff in training since Ollie's came. And today, apart from the Bilbao game, is I think the first time that we executed it beautifully. Where, for the most part of the game, especially in that first half, we were playing good football, and it was really, really nice to see.
Yeah. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like we serviced our strikers. Sinan, what else have you noticed has changed under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? What, compared to the Gio era of this season and the Seda Topraktepe era, where are you seeing the big differences? Why are Beşiktaş on the rise again?
Sorry about that light, guys. I've been tinkering with it in the background here.
I mean,
it's,
I assume.
Yeah, it's like coming through the blinds. Like it's whatever. I mean, Cardell did a great job, I think, of summarizing a lot of the tactical stuff. But I think you also have to take note of the camaraderie, right? Like the morale of the team, the togetherness, the sort of even the spirit. Right, we went down a goal, but there was no hanging heads. Right, so many times we've seen, a positive start or whatever, but then like they score and we kind of put our heads down. I mean, even in the last match, there was a little bit of that, although we recovered pretty quickly, I think, especially with the halftime talk. But today, I mean, they scored and it was like, okay, it doesn't matter, we're going to come back, we're going to score. And you really felt like we were, and sure enough, within 20 minutes, we got our goal. We equalized, and then, yeah, I mean, from there, it just, it. Not only did it feel like we were gonna take the lead, but then even after we took the lead, it felt, for the first time in a long time, like we weren't gonna clench our butt cheeks and like hold out for the 2-1. It really kind of felt like, you know what? I think we're gonna go for this third goal, and sure enough, Semih Kiliçsoy, of all people, right? Like there's, I think, a grand metaphor at work there, that you see a guy whose morale was where it was, whose performances were where they were, being the guy who was putting the cherry on top with a goal. And I think we're going to need him to play well, right? I mean, if there's any hole in the squad right now, it's up front. Yeah. So lots of great things to talk about today, I suspect.
Yeah. Quite a lot of comments already in the chat, and we're going to get to those in a moment. But let's go over the lineup first, and let's do the Eyüpspor lineup, if you don't mind, Sinan. And then when we get to the Beşiktaş lineup, let's get our thoughts out on the individual performances of our players, and then we can start reading the chat, because there's quite a few comments already on player performances.
Yeah, and so of course we're going to start with our goalkeeper Berke Uze, who, the 24-year-old Turk. Once again, it looked like we were going to come up against the impenetrable wall in a goalkeeper who was, just. I mean, he had a fantastic in the first half, especially
highest save percentage in the league last week. I believe he was on 86%. Save percentage. That's insane. That's in total, this season. So 86% of the shots he's faced, he saved this season. That's absolutely crazy.
I mean, maybe someday we can have that conversation as far as, when we want a Mert Günok replacement. Could he be an option? But
I think we'll have to be quick if we want that, because Galatasaray.
If we better, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, they're always sniffing something.
And Eyüp have close ties, so sure it won't. Although they did have to pay 6 million for Ahmet Kutucu, so I don't know.
Yeah, sniffing. Anyway, so the 24-year-old Turk was, I thought, fairly outstanding, especially in that first half. In front of him, of course, Robin Yalçın, a name many will be familiar with, a 31-year-old German Turk, still registered as a German. Next to him, 33-year-old Brazilian central defender Lucas Claro, a name I did not recognize. I'll be 100% honest.
He was at Gunstedt.
Oh, is that where he's from?
Well, that's a few years ago already, when they were still in the Super League. He played there, so that must be like 7-8 years ago or something at this point, I would imagine.
You have a keen memory for these things, man. I almost feel bad. Usually I'm good with these Anadolu names. Anyway,
it's him, at least. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm confusing him with a different Claro. Correct me in the chat, guys, if I'm...
Yeah, if you got us. Next to him is a name that I've never heard. On the left side, a fellow who's apparently 36 years old, Turkish, named Caner Erkin. Erkin? Caner Erkin? Caner Erkin. Never heard of that guy. And opposite him, of course, 30-year-old Portuguese Ruben Vesso, who, didn't really impress me. I'm going to keep it 100. In front of them all, in the back, of their midfield was a fellow named Meli Kabasaka, 29-year-old Turk. Also a name relatively unfamiliar to me, I'm going to be 100% honest, which is weird given he's already 29. But, they came up from the lower leagues not long ago.
Pretty old team when you're naming it down like that with the ages and
Yeah.
stuff. I didn't
Their
realize.
goalkeeper is their youngest player.
Yeah.
Kind of ironic, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, who else is under 30 in here? Like Millie so far, and
a fascinating
Emre Mor,
decision,
I
I thought.
guess.
And this was actually, I thought, quite interesting. So Tayfur Bingöl was listed as a central midfielder, and he did, in fact, play that role, I thought, for much of his game. 32-year-old Turk, a name I think many will recall, the Bingoat. And, of course, he scored against us.
33? Is he 33 already? Jesus.
32.
Oh, yeah, okay,
but,
32, okay. Yeah.
But, I mean, it's funny. I saw him score against us, and I kind of felt like we were definitely going to score, so I didn't feel too bad thinking that, it's all right that he scored. Good for him, this freaking guy. I'm sure he'll get a few good, Instagram posts out of it. Fucking guy.
I think he'll probably chill on those because,
Maybe. Hopefully. He is technically, is he on loan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's still our player. There were even rumors that we'd be calling him back this January. So, yeah.
There you go. Putting on a show for his potential new boss. Anyway, next to him, Yalçın Kayan, 26-year-old Turk. That's like the youngest player besides Berk Uze. On the wing, the left wing, 26-year-old Ghanaian Prince Ampem. And opposite him, 27-year-old Turk Emre Mor, a name that many will recall.
He was probably their best player. Do you not think so, guys?
Yeah, he was pretty good. I thought he was pretty good.
Other than Berke.
It came from him. He tried some shots.
Yeah.
He was a brilliant assist for Tayfur's goal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
You also have to give credit to Caner on that assist though, because he gives the phenomenal cross pass to Emre.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Bunch of guys with a reason to perform, you could say.
Caner's ball, Udo Kai headed that into the path of Emre. That's how it happens.
Uh-oh.
Sorry?
So Caner done the long ball and Udo Kai headed it into the path of Emre Mor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And Emre Mor done the brilliant pass. So really, it was a mistake really from Udo Kai, but otherwise,
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, they did point that out after the broadcast. Actually, you're right.
Yep.
But still, Caner still has those amazing long passes in him, even at age 36, 37. He's my age, but I think he's probably got a birthday earlier in the year than I. So I don't know if he's already turned 37 or not. But yeah, what? For me, what strikes me in this team is I think last season when they were in the Birinci League with this team for the most part. Not too many changes. You were like, it's logical that they win the Birinci League. They have a team that's on Super League level. But now that they're in the Super League, I think that they have a team that you'd probably say should be like 12th, 13th. And you have to give props to Arda Turan for getting out of this team what he's gotten out of them so far, being in fourth position up until this match. It's really impressive, I think, because if you look at that team, there's only one player I think on this entire squad that you take into Beşiktaş. Usually when a team are in fourth place like that, like for example Trabzonspor, there's definitely a couple of players that would pique your interest. But I think other than the goalkeeper, I don't think there's anyone on Eyüpspor that you'd be like, oh yeah, I definitely want to see him in a Beşiktaş shirt.
Only player I would consider is I think Emre Mor could be good as a rotational player. That's it.
You're sounding like a certain someone right now.
Yeah, but see, do you not think there's a reason, when he goes to a Karagümrük or a group he performs?
Yeah.
Because when given the chance, the guy's a good player, so I think he could definitely be a decent player off the bench for a big team. But
there's a reason why he does it at a small club and he couldn't do it at Fenerbahçe, because the kid doesn't have the work ethic. So you don't want players like that in your squad, man. They poison the well. It's like Salih Uçan and Tayfur Bingöl and all those lazy cunts. You don't want to have those players in your squad, man.
I mean, we don't know if the problem is his laziness. Maybe it was. I don't know. Could be. But if that's the case, then of course you're right. But I think he definitely does have the talent to at least be a rotation.
100%. I mean, he has speed. He has good skill on the ball. The only thing he doesn't really have is a dependable, consistent delivery or a consistent shot. I always thought Emre was a lot of flash because he has that speed and that ability on the ball, but he doesn't really have a really good shot. He doesn't really have a great pass or cross, So he's not complete enough to be really good, but he's definitely talented, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, even like the pass, obviously that's something where it was always a weak spot for him. But today he creates the goal, very good passes, and also that chance they had through Tiam. Just before we score a second, it's him that gives the pass there as well.
But then again, I mean, that's what I'm saying. The consistency. Look at his stats this season. I think he has 1 goal, 3 assists, and
You'd expect more.
You'd expect more. Given his talent, given his ability, I think he should be able to put not necessarily Ahmet Kutucu numbers, but maybe you know, because at a smaller team like that, you do get more space and opportunities than you would get at a big team. So maybe I do expect Ahmet Kutucu numbers. Maybe inverted, not as many goals but more assists. But I don't know. Although Ahmet Kutucu had pretty balanced numbers, honestly. So.
Well, anyway, guys, the final player on their team is Mame Thiam, 32-year-old Senegalese striker. Shall we do our lineup, or did you want to say something first?
Well, let's go over the lineup. Let's just go over the performances. Mert today, guys, in goal. What did you guys think about Mert's performance?
He was okay.
He made one good save, and I believe that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that was a perfect big team goalkeeper performance from Mert. He made the one save that he had to make. Obviously they take the lead after 30-something seconds. I don't think there's much Mert could have done there. I mean, if you're lucky as a goalkeeper, you make a brilliant save there, but I don't blame him for conceding that at all. And then at was it 1-1 or 2-1? I think it was right before we score, wasn't it? That chance for Mame Thiam.
Yeah, it was right before the second goal.
He kind of woke us up. It felt like.
And then we hit them straight on the counter, and that's to the Besiktas goal.
So a massive save, really, a massive moment from Mert, and that's what you want to see from our goalkeeper. He's gonna face, ideally you don't want to see our goalkeeper facing too many shots, but the ones he does face, he needs to be alert, and he was here for sure. So a great. I mean, didn't have much to do, but I think it still counts as a great performance because he made that one save he really, really had to make.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, a good performance, we can say, at least.
Yeah.
Sufficient, at the very least. Up ahead of him, of course, Tayyip Talha, which was a bit of a surprise given Emirhan's surprising injury news.
Yeah, injury right before. Him and Mucci both had a small injury, apparently. So.
Yep.
Two muscular issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully nothing serious. Hopefully they'll be back soon.
Hopefully.
I suspect they would be, right? Because we didn't get like a serious announcement. And it was like a game time decision.
All he said, small injuries, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Although hopefully it doesn't turn into Gazal's small injury.
Right.
Yeah. Did he stand out to you guys though? Because he had a very anonymous match in my book. Tayyip.
Yeah.
He had one good challenge, I remember.
He had that great sliding tackle. Yeah, where he came in from behind, and I thought he was good. And I think given that one moment that we can think of is him. Going all out, physically putting himself at risk, even, given where he's been so tenuous.
Yeah.
It's good to see him do that kind of thing again, you could say.
And I think they know as well, guys, that's 2 weeks in a row he's made a similar challenge.
Yeah.
Against Trabzon, he also made a block on the slide like that.
Yeah. And of course, Felix was great as usual. Although, as you mentioned, I didn't notice the mishap, but. On their goal, like who was that? Was that on someone? when Nasser had asked, I kind of put it down as a team malfunction, that they'd kind of hit the snooze button and nobody was really ready to start yet. They kind of too easily waltzed right through our team.
I think that was just a small mistake. Well, I wouldn't call it even a massive mistake by Felix, but it was his mistake, I would say. I guess you could put it on him. And that's probably, I don't know, is that the first goal this season that's really on him? Maybe there's one or two more, but I can't really think of any from the top of my head, so
maybe he's had like one header scored over him, but these things happen, man. I think this is a mistake.
Yeah, and just given the nature of it, like the 40th second in a match, I didn't even notice that he was just, so it's that kind of a day, that kind of a moment rather. But so besides that, of course, on the flanks of our defense, we have Arthur Masuaku on the left side and Jonas Svensson on the right, and I thought
solid
once
games.
Again both were pretty ideal, right? Like you can't really ask for more out of either of your fullbacks.
I think Arthur was the only one that got booked all game for us. I don't even remember what he got booked on.
It was a good booking. I remember it, and it was one of those tackles where if he hadn't done whatever he needed to do, it could have led to a very dangerous counter. So he kind of cut it out, and it was it was what it kind of had to be.
So it was a professional foul scene, and you reckon,
Yeah.
What did I mean, I'll get back, but I'll table this question for once we're done with the lineup here. But what did you guys think of the referee? I'm gonna table it for now, but let's get back. Let's circle back to that after we're finished here.
I will say offhand, it's always a good sign when they're not the main character of the story. You know what I mean? And because he's really in the background. Yeah. For as far as I can recall, that means he probably did all right. Anyway, in the midfield, of course, we had Ox return, perhaps to some consternation. I don't know what you guys thought. He played next to Jedson Fernandes. Thoughts on those two? Jedson, of course, the engine that he always is, the engine that never could.
I'd argue João Mário's been the engine lately, man, especially this game.
No, João Mário was probably the man of the match.
He was running the show. I mean, but
by the engine, you know what I mean. Like
I know what you mean.
Jetson's just all over the place.
But so was João Mário. He was all over the place in a good way. Like he was everywhere.
Yeah, sure. Although I think you could say.
Remember João Mário like pressing high and winning balls and stuff like that.
Yeah. But they were doing it in different parts of the pitch, which was actually like perfect. I mean, in a way, you really got a glimpse of what our team could be when everyone's functioning the way you want them to. With Jedson chasing balls down in the back. And João Mário just all over the place chasing. And that's why I think he's kind of positionless in a good way when he's playing well, right? Because you could say he's starting on the left wing, but when you look at how he played at the end of the game, like he was everywhere, as you say, right? He was, omnipresent.
I think João Mário was amazing again since Ole's come in, and I'd even argue a bit prior, even to the turn of the year. I think he's been building and building, and I think the last 3 weeks we've been saying, this is his best game. I think today was his best game.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, last week,
and they've been building too. So.
Yeah, against Trabzon was his best game, and then now he's better again. So it's like he keeps, like you say, he keeps building on his performances, and we can only be happy about that.
What about Oxlade-Chamberlain, guys? I thought he was maybe a slightly weak link today. He had one pre-assist, but there was just a couple of stray passes I noticed, and were quite avoidable, I think. But other than that, I wouldn't say he was too bad. He was okay, but didn't really set the world on fire either.
I saw some criticism of him in the group chats, and I don't know. I didn't think he stood out. Either way.
I even thought last week people were a little harsh with the criticism for him, only in that he is what he is right now, and I think in part he's still coming back from that long-term injury, from multiple injuries, I suppose, if you look at his career, and he's still kind of getting his footing again, and you see him gaining in confidence a little bit, and he has a decent role as far as like leadership on the pitch. Communicating seems to be a strength of his. But yeah, I mean, he's still like rusty, and I think that's what, like, his passes are very short sometimes. I don't know what that's all about. It looks like he's still finding his, getting comfortable in new shoes or something, I don't know.
Yeah, another thing that's noteworthy as well, guys, like he is playing as the 6, an Ole's system.
Yeah.
Which it's not a position he's played much before. He's normally been a number 8.
Or a winger.
He's played collecting the ball from the defenders, starting the attacks. He's playing in that 6 role, which he's not really accustomed to. But yeah, I think alongside Immobile, I think he's kind of the weaker link just now. Amir's coming in. He's kind of getting readjusted to the team, so maybe he's going to take that 6 role.
Or Ricardo. You'd
Well,
hope
Ricardo-
Ricardo takes that role.
Any comments, guys, on who'd you just name? Cartel? Not Ox. Who came in for Ox?
Amir.
Duh. Why would my brain just blanked like fully. Any comments on Amir's performance today? Like I didn't see much, to be honest. But I didn't see anything negative either.
Yeah, same.
As much as your number 6 isn't making mistakes and is just like helping the machine run, I think that's okay. As long as they're not hiding.
I think your 6 can do more though, and I really want to see Alan Ricardo because, you know, the way he was described to us by our guest Simon Edwards. Like really sounds like an exciting player, somebody who can, you know, pass, play, make from deep, and also has a really, really lethal shot in him. And I think Amir is too bland.
One thing I will say about Amir was at one point late in the game I saw Keny making a run down the side and Amir was on the ball and I thought if Al-Musrati was on that ball, he would have pinged Keny perfectly down the wing. We probably, you know, who knows, but we don't have that anymore.
Those what-if moments, right? That we were talking about.
Cartel, someone in the Murder Merit was like, Al-Musrati never had any good long balls when he played for us. And I swear, I thought you were gonna like get my back on that one.
Because that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
I was like, Cartel can give me some examples because my memory sucks, but I'm definitely certain that he had some fantastic long balls.
All he did was fantastic long balls, ping, ping, ping, ping, ping. Man, that was like literally his main redeeming quality.
Yeah, that was his bread and butter, man. He's the best passing. Maybe if you count Pjanic, but
Guti was better.
What was that? The Goot.
Guti.
The Goot.
Guti wasn't a 6 though. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. As far as
Guti was not for us, but at Real Madrid he was a 6. Very often.
Sure, I always thought.
I always thought he was more of a 10.
Multi-playing playmaker. He played very often. He also played as a 10, but he played the 8. He played the 10. He played the 6. He played everything. But he had those amazing Pjanic, Musrati like passes.
he could those on a string
completely split open an opponent. But let's talk about João Mário, guys, because we did
let's focus.
Let's heap some praise on him, and we already did, I know, but what a game again by João Mário. And I know statistically, you know, Rafa's probably gonna get it because 2 assists, a goal, good performance by Rafa, no doubt. But João Mário,
man, his stats are looking great suddenly after like 3 or 4 good games in a row, and now
they
suddenly
were looking solid to begin with. You know, before Ole came in, he had 14 goal contributions in 28 matches, so averaging a goal contribution every other game. Now he you know, Rafa has 21 goal contributions in 34 matches, so. Almost double-double stats, by the way, something Cartel was talking a lot about, but he's almost at double-double, 1 more assist, and he's on double-doubles.
Ooh, you love that. You love that.
9
but yeah,
assists and 12 goals now this season.
I have to say that I think that as long as we can keep Rafa Silva, Jedson, and João Mário in our midfield, we probably should try to, you know, as long as they don't turn on us again. But just the way that that team seems to be functioning with those 3 guys when they're playing well, it's exciting, and it's kind of what you were hoping for at a certain point this season before everything went to shit. How about this for a change of things for a moment? What about Rashica? What did you guys think of our guy Rashica?
I thought he played well. He was pivotal in a lot of the attacks as well.
He played faster, much faster. He didn't slow us down as much. Usually he gets the ball in a promising position and then he like does a couple of feints, but then he ends up passing it back because he chickens out. He didn't do that today. There was a lot of fast play today.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like he was given a very clear instruction from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to keep don't cross the ball. Just every time you have the instinct to cross it, just ping it low on the ground, and let's just see where that goes, right? Because like every sort of situation where he was letting us down last week, he was almost doing the right thing, or at least kind of doing something a little bit more careful that could at least result in, if not the desired effect, something that could still be productive, rather than just like sending it into the stands, you know? What did you guys think? Is that accurate?
Yeah, no, I definitely seen him. His crosses they did seem a bit lower. I think he played a very good game as well. And see, there's this kind of thing he does. Like, I've noticed he even done it under Gio as well, but we hadn't seen it in a while, and we saw it again today. Is like, see when he gets the ball, he can he quickly takes the ball from his right foot to his left foot, and can kind of go past the defender like that. I remember seeing it at the start of the season, but we hadn't seen him do that move in a while. We saw it again today, which I was happy to see.
Definitely.
And then his combination play was good today as well. Like in the last episode, I said I was frustrated with him taking too long on the ball and kind of like ruining promising positions, like Can was referring to just a moment ago. But we didn't see any of that today. So no, I was impressed, and unfortunately for my boy Keny Arroyo, man, if Rashika keeps playing like this, he's going to have maybe a tough time getting into that top 11.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I don't know. I thought when Chichi came on,
he did provide like chances immediately, didn't he?
Yeah, he was an immediate threat. So I don't think. I think he'll would get in there. Maybe
Sorry,
not.
Guys, I'm making a coffee in the background.
I thought you were making cornflakes or something. Jesus. So then there's only one man left to talk about, and that was Ciro Immobile.
I know. I've been holding off on changing. So I'm going to hand this off to you, Con. I want to hear your thoughts specifically, because you know you're going to come under heat. So let's just get this out of the way. What do you think about Ciro Immobile, the Italiano?
Well, let's lead with excellent assist on the 1-1.
Yes. Very good assist, wasn't it?
That was a very good assist. But first time, I think, this season where he has no right to complain about the service provided to him. This was the first time.
That's true.
First time in a game, I think, where he had plenty of passes, plenty of opportunity to score, and he flubbed it every time. There was one moment where he's alone through on goal, and he has a really dog shit, like a Yusuf En-Nesyri touch to the ball. I don't know, maybe it was maybe the pitch was slippery or something. I did notice early on in the match that there were some miscontrols.
Snow, it was a
snowy day, so maybe that's the reason. I don't know, but that was a horrendous touch that led to, opening up the opportunity for Berke to make the save. And then João Mário almost rectified the mistake with a lob that hit the post. That was right before the 1-1, just a few minutes before. So, and then he had a couple of more chances where he didn't hit the ball fully, he didn't connect with it well, and he just right now strikes me as a striker who's kind of, he's not there, he's not in the zone. Some people in the group chat keep talking about his legs. I think that's the last thing.
I think
that's
if anything,
problem, because he very often.
If anything, he's just trying to force it. I think he's just probably realizes he's not performing to his own standard, and he's kind of getting more and more frustrated and desperate a little bit, right? And kind of. I feel like if he scores a goal, it'll probably calm him. I think
a couple of goals. If he can score a couple of goals, he'll be back on the horse, but. I don't think it's his legs that are gone, because very often you see him, even in this match in the first half, it was very often he came on the ball on the left and he still looks spry, he looks quick enough. That isn't the problem. So I see people talking about his legs having gone. I really don't get why they say that, because he had a bad touch or whatever. I don't know how you feel about that, Kafel. Do you feel like his legs are gone? Do you think that's the issue?
I don't know. Maybe I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say maybe the pitch had an issue with that position where he kind of had that elephant touch and ran into Barkey. He runs. He does tire quickly. I said that at the start of the season. He tires quite quickly.
He didn't tire in the first half though. He looked fine, but he did come off at halftime, and it makes me suspect that there's another injury or something.
Little injury. Or just still sort of bothered by the old
Solskjær
one.
was actually consoling him as he was walking off the pitch, and at first I thought, it's just because of the chances he missed, but I don't think you're consoling a player just because. I mean, yeah, you'd console a player for missing chances, striker to striker, but I don't think you then yoink him. So I think he was consoling him more because of he got hurt again. And he knew he was gonna have to come off. I think that was why.
By the way, Kanye, you can probably go to our faces now if you want.
Yeah. Before I do, actually, I want to quickly show this, like the report card from FotMob.
Nice.
So the ratings here. I just quickly want to get your guys' thoughts on the scores here, because obviously these are calculated statistically and far from. I mean, if you were to perfectly believe statistics. Rashica is our most creative player and our biggest creator. Statistics can paint a very weird image. But I just want to get your guys' quick thoughts if anything here jumps out to you that you think is really off or spot on.
I'm surprised Ox's number is so low. I know it's hard for central defenders to kind of get good ratings, so that's whatever. João Mário again, right? Like, I'm not shocked that his statistical rating isn't high because he didn't, create goals. But it's not gonna like he had one of those days where it was the intangibles, right? It was holding onto the ball well and kind of it seemed like he couldn't put a foot wrong, and that doesn't show up statistically, I guess.
No, exactly. There's no metric for that.
But I mean, besides that, I mean. I wonder why Ox's number is so low. I guess were a lot of his passes astray. I'm curious.
I don't know. What do you think, Cathal?
I mean, I think maybe. What would you say is like a base rating, man? Ox maybe
6.5. 6.5 is like
I think 6.5 is like the standard.
I think 6.5, 6.6 is fine. I mean, he had a pre-assist, but other than that, he didn't really do much. He had a couple of wayward passes. So I maybe give him a wee bit higher, but I'm not going to complain. Like these numbers. I think the fact is Beşiktaş won this game 3-1. That's what matters.
Yeah. What do you think of Chiro getting a 7.5 here? By the way, that's probably the assist.
See, again, it's just basically because it's
gotta be the assist, yeah.
And because he had an assist.
Well, you say that.
Really,
Semih came on at halftime, scored a goal, only gets a 6.8. Statistically.
That's interesting.
That is bizarre, man. I will say, but I think Semih played better than Chiro. I think Chiro, apart from the assist, wasn't good.
Actually,
we'd have to see Chiro's statistics. Maybe he completed a lot of passes. I mean, I'm curious what buffed his number there.
I can have a look at that. I'll actually dig into it. But
you want to toss it up?
Let's before I do that, let's have a look here quickly at the overview for Rafa Silva this season. So 34 total matches in a Besiktas shirt, 12 goals, 9 assists, 7 goals and 3 assists in the league. So 10 goal contributions in 22 matches. So you know what, in the league, that's where he statistically is doing the worst, because in the cup he has a goal in 1 game. In the Europa League, he has 5 goal contributions in 8 matches. In the qualifiers, he has 3 goal contributions in 2 matches. In the Super Cup, he had 2 goal contributions in 1 match. So, the league is where he currently has a little bit of ground to cover or make up for.
There you go.
But yeah, great season so far for Rafa, at least statistically. And I hope people are finally gonna start shutting up, man. I'm so tired of seeing people bitch about him every time he misses a chance, or bitch about his wages I'm so fed up with it, man. I'm really so fed up with it, especially because you don't see those people talk when when he bangs them
On
in.
the good days.
Yeah. It's like, oh, he misses a chance, and then they'll write an essay on how bad he is, or an essay on how oh, this guy keeps missing, blah blah blah. Then he proceeds to give a goal and score a goal and give 2 assists, and it's like, oh. Shall we get to these comments, Sinan? Because we have a buttload of them, it seems.
I can only suspect who you're talking about. I remember some negative Nazis once upon a time. Anyway, yeah, the group chat is lively today. Shouts to everyone for checking in. Yeah, it's a good day. Why not? Come on in, everyone. The water's fine. Grey Wolf says, thoughts on Cheeto being subbed in the second half instead of starting? I
think I'm suspecting another injury or something, because I don't think Ole would
I
don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would.
Oh, time out. No, time out. Yeah, Grey Wolf says thoughts on him being subbed in, like thoughts on him coming in as a sub rather than starting, or not being brought into the game at all. So he's suggesting somebody else starts at striker. What are your thoughts, guys? I'm not there yet.
I mean, up until today, there was no way of justifying Simi starting over him. I wasn't particularly impressed with Simi in the second half. I have to say, he had one good shot, and he had the goal, which was excellent. If he starts looking up more and stops staring at the ball and at the grass, then I don't see a reason why not to give Simi a run. But I don't think there's a clearly better alternative to justify it right now. I think, you can alternate it. You can give Semi the next game or something like that. I have no problem with that at all. But I don't think there's a clear reason why you would start Semi over him. What do you think, Arthur?
I mean, there is the debate where if Semi plays, you're developing your 19-year-old talent.
Yeah, but he has played plenty as well. And it's not like he's grabbed the opportunity, right?
Yeah. He hasn't covered himself in glory.
Let's just hope that today's the start of a great goal scoring run from Semi.
Let's hope so, yeah.
That would be very nice, for sure.
Start scoring within 2 or 3 goals within the next 3-4 games, and you can say, yes, Semi should start. But I think for just now, maybe give him a couple of more appearances off the bench, so he's not having as much pressure.
Yeah. And I think you could legitimize starting Semi in the next match, just given we're coming off of a bad performance from Cheeto, but I don't think you're handing him the mantle just yet.
The cup as well, so
for the cup for sure,
another reason why, and give Cheeto needs to rest anyway. Like if he picked up another small injury today, perfect reason, perfect excuse to give Semi the start in the next match in the cup against Antalyaspor. And then, see how Semi does there. And if he justifies getting another start, then you start Semi again. And then you give Chiro 30 minutes or something. I don't think you should not bring him on. I don't see what plausible benefit there could be to that other than, further destroying a guy's dwindling confidence.
Not to mention hurting a locker room that's sort of flourishing at the moment, And again, like one thing I don't think anyone could make the argument against is that he's a solid locker room presence, And I think everyone has said as much too. So that's that. Next up is Nasser. He says, I think we might see Semi start the next game at Grey Wolf, and I don't know if Nasser was aware of the fact that the next game is a cup game. But
I think it's a cup game.
I think it's very.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, Tuesday against Antalyaspor, I believe. Yeah. Or Wednesday against Antalyaspor. Okay.
Yeah, just making sure, because. And then who do we have in the league? Then do we also have Antalya? No.
In the league, it's Kayseri.
Oh, Kayseri.
Like Kayseri at home, and then we have Antep at home. We've got 2 games in a row, which is a good chance for us to make it 5 wins in a row.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood, Carter.
Let's not jinx it.
If we win next week, it's officially our longest win streak in the league this year.
Yeah, we have
because
3,
we won
right?
first. Because it's 3. Because we won the first 3 under Gio, then we drew to Trabzon, then we won 2 in a row, and then we drew, and then we won 1, and then we had our collapse.
Yeah.
If we can win the 4th game in a row, that'll be the Because obviously we've won 3 in a row now. If we can win next week, that'll be our longest league win streak of the season. I think that'll be a great confidence boost for the team to continue and plough on and keep winning these games.
Yeah.
The BNUSA guy said this was our first time winning 3 in a row this year, so I guess he's a liar.
He's a liar. Confirmed. Being USA guy. Confirmed liar.
Liar or moron. Up for verdict. I'm just kidding. If you're listening, although if you are listening, man, can I offer you some English lessons, my friend? I'd really like to help you.
Is it the guy with Giro Immobile with the best control? Misses the chance. Besiktas with the easy saves. Like that?
He sounds like he's got something in his mouth all the time.
That guy?
Yes, very much.
Isn't he a basketball commentator or something?
I don't know, but he's not very good at his job. I don't want to get sued. I don't know. Anyway,
probably better off letting AI comment the game.
Don't. Oh, come on, Con. Give me the job if we're going that route. Shit. Or you, for that matter. Anyway.
No. My eyesight's too shit.
Well, we could tag team it. I'll do the color commentary.
I can do the color commentary.
Yeah, exactly. I'll do the names.
You can call the names.
Exactly.
I'll do the color commentary.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I remember that guy. Anyway, continue on. We have Carlito. Good to see you in the chat live. Go see ya, BS. You're supposed to just say one of them. We'll say the other, my friend. But accepted. The Vigilante Turk with the eagle emoji.
Have you ever seen those videos or shorts on YouTube with the Scottish commentator who's commenting on highlights of old matches?
Oh yeah.
And when he comments on the English, he's them diving cheats they are. That would be me when I'm commenting on a Galatasaray game.
yeah. I don't think we can be objective. No.
Yeah. That would literally be me. Oh, there he goes, diving into the penalty area again. Galatasaray, the only team in the world that dives into the penalty area instead of running into it.
I don't know what team the BNUSA guy supports, but it's not Beşiktaş, because the level of excitement that they have when the opponent is coming for us versus when we're doing something well is it's tilted.
There's a compilation from the Galatasaray game against AZ Alkmaar. A compilation of 15 dives. 15 dives. And the referee was having none of it, man. And you just know that in the league they'd get 9 of those. And there's this guy on Reddit, a Galatasaray fan on Reddit, that made a post.
I saw that. Did you think that was real?
I wonder if that
it was
guy
the
was
"Are we
just
the baddies" meme in real life, actually.
I wonder if that guy was just watching the AZ Alkmaar game and came to an epiphany because the referee didn't call every single dive for them.
My god, is that normal?
What's this? Oh shit, isn't every time our players lay down crying on the floor like their mommies got rammed by a car and shot by a shotgun? Isn't it every time a free kick and a penalty and
that moment of clarity? Yeah, that was a hilarious post. For anyone, I don't know if maybe you can post that. I don't know if you can find an image of that kind of. Well, anyway,
go to our WhatsApp group chat, man. All the salty tears get posted in there. Patreon.com/Beşiktaş podcast. Become a free member and you gain access to our group chat.
Right.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, by the way.
Yeah, do it. Nasser says, hello, guys. Feels like I haven't been on the stream in a minute, but great win. Yes, it was a great win. A fantastic win. A huge win. And I think we should probably get an image of the standings, Con, at some point.
Yeah, I'll get that up. But 5th win under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Sinan.
What is he, 5-1-1 at this point?
He's 5-1-1. And the one loss is obviously in the Europa League against Twente. And then he has the one draw against Antalyaspor. So, it's a pretty good record. So, what is that? 4 wins and a draw in the league so far for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So, great performance by our new coach.
In the league, he's 3 wins and a draw. He's only managed 4 league games.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it's 2 European games. Sorry, yeah, of course. And then 2.
But so he is undefeated in the Super League.
He is indeed undefeated.
We'll take it a step further. He's undefeated in domestic competition because of that one cup game.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll see what
let's have a
happens
look
Tuesday
here.
or Wednesday.
I don't know if we're gonna be able to see the full full standings here. Let's have a look.
Yeah, that's enough.
I mean,
Reader, Samsung's. I didn't know they had a sponsor of that nature. There we are.
Let me wait. Give me a second. Maybe
We can't see the points there, but that's all right.
you see
Whoa.
them now? No, can't. Fuck's sake. I need to. Oh wait, I have an idea. No, that's not gonna work. I'll just need to resize that window in a minute. Let me see.
But yeah, so I mean, to sum it up, we are 5 points behind Samsung Sports. We won that game in hand so far. Is Samsung playing against? Have they played, or did they have their bye week this week? Does anyone know?
Well, it's Fridays, so it's kind of
Duh. So yeah, they'll probably play this weekend, but eventually they'll get that bye game.
I'll scroll up in a second and then we can see. So let's see here. Is that big enough?
That's pretty good.
So you can see the standings here. So obviously Galatasaray in the lead, 61 points. Fener in second, 57 points, and then we're 16 points off of them with 41 points and 5 points behind Trabzonspor. We are on equal games now, but obviously Trabzonspor is still playing, so they still have to get their bye week, I suppose. Eyüpspor on 24 games now, so that's good. We have 1 game less than them. And Göztepe are quite a bit behind us at the moment. So let's have a look at the schedule this week. So we have Atakaş Hatay lost against Bodrum today. Who are Samsun Plospor playing?
They're playing Rizespor, which is they could be a tough opponent.
That's a tough opponent.
It's a tough
for
nut
sure.
to crack.
That's a
And of
tough
course,
nut.
Galatasaray and Fener play on Monday, which is
Exactly. Yeah.
thrilling, I guess.
Yeah, with the foreign referees. Dinan, did you hear about this? Foreign ref.
Yeah, so Galatasaray didn't get their way. I heard they were trying to.
Oh yeah. I mean, they just got their bi-weekly dose of a foreign ref in Europe and didn't go too well. Like I said, 15 dives in a compilation in one match. It's ridiculous.
We'll see how quickly they can.
How shameful is that, man? Imagine diving 15 times in a single game. Jesus Christ.
Let's see how quick their network can get to this new ref. Maybe they can buy him before Monday.
Yeah.
Man, we're gonna get sued.
We're not mentioning the cleric, Dickon.
That's true. We haven't listed anyone's names. We haven't slandered anyone yet. Anyway, so John Wolf, good to see. I don't think that's a new name. I feel like
I think it's a new name. Must be Grey Wolf's brother.
Yeah, there's a new Wolf in the chat. He says Immobile is not enough physically because Ole tries to play this fast football. Should Semih replace him?
I think we answered that already. But
we've addressed that.
I don't know, man. Like, I think the only thing with Chiro is his stamina. I don't think his speed is an issue at all. I mean, obviously today he had a couple of mammoth touches, and it wasn't his day. But I mean, in the past, I think Chiro has shown that he can definitely play in a high-tempo game for 60 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's time to panic.
I think we need to part ways with Chiro in the summer.
Oh yeah. I agree with that. I agree.
You need to find a way to part ways with minimum damage in the summer.
Exactly. If you can get him to score a couple more, if you can get him to score like 6-7 goals more, he's got 17 or so league goals. It's going to be much easier to offload him in the summer. I agree with you. He's not. It's been a failed experiment. Unfortunately, I like Chiro a lot. I think he's but he's too expensive. Yeah, you can definitely talk about his wages. I don't think you can talk about it with Rafa. If you're talking about it with Rafa, then why aren't Fenerbahce and Galatasaray fans talking about their wages, man? Like,
see the thing is, like, Karen, I think you do need to accept that Rafa's form has peaked again.
But even before that, Gatal, before Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in, he had 14 goal contributions in 28 matches. That is not something to scoff at, especially given the fact that we've been shit for 60% of the season.
How many does it? So how many has he got now?
He's got 21 goal contributions now in 34 matches. He's played 6 games since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in.
He would have had 13 goal contributions before, because he's had 8 since Ole came in.
I think he's got 7 now, doesn't he? Does he have 8? But we're talking semantics here, though. That's 13 goal contributions then in 28 matches. That's not something to scoff at.
It's still decent, man. It's not to be scoffed at, but is it worth the 6 million? Do you think 13 goal contributions in 28 games?
I don't think that it's. I don't think it's about the goal contributions. I think it's about the quality of the player.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's shown his quality.
I think
he's definitely quality, but see if he
you can argue Beşiktaş should not be paying 6 million to any player, regardless of quality. You can 100% make that argument. But if you're gonna argue with me that Rafa Silva is not worth 6 million a year in this world of football, then you don't know ball. You know, and I know you're not going to make that argument, but there are people out there who will make that argument. And there's players playing in the Premier League right now making a lot more money that aren't half as good as Rafa Silva is.
Can do you not think like we are seeing the Rafa from the start of the season again, but as of late, whereas there was a kind of downturn.
I thought he was better at the start of the season. Honestly, I think he's been playing almost exclusively on the wing now, and I think he's less involved. He scores more, he contributes more statistically. I think he was more involved in the play in the beginning of the season. But that's probably because now João Mário has taken up a role of being a little bit of a dynamo in the midfield. So, you know, it's fine.
I probably agree with that, but I'm talking about his contributions were crazy at the start. Like I think he had like 7 goal contributions in his first 6 games. Now he's got 6 games under Ole. Now he's got 8 goal contributions. Like he's hitting those levels again.
Yeah, but I mean, even you know, when he was maybe on a little bit of a dry spell, he was still like getting into goal scoring. He's just missing chances, and people were piling on him because he was missing chances. But
obviously, like. One of the things about football is if you keep getting into chances, you're going to end up scoring.
Yeah.
If he kept missing the chances, and it kept on going like that, and we didn't get this upturn, I think maybe people would have been quite right. But obviously, there's no point in talking about something that didn't happen.
You know, Burak Yilmaz went through spells like that in his career as well, like multiple spells. Like that's why Galatasaray fans booed him and jeered him and all that kind of stuff because he was missing chances. But Burak, if one thing Burak Yilmaz was crazy good at, world class maybe even, it was getting into goal scoring opportunities, making runs in behind. Rafa is the same. Rafa has that same quality, and Rafa might not always be the best finisher. Although honestly, I think a lot of those big chances that he missed, I think a lot of those were down to really excellent goalkeeping or defending, not just bad finishing. I think many of them were at least decent finishes that, you know, were saved. Not all of them. Just a couple of bad misses, of course.
Highlight a comment though that Nasser. Thanks for the comment, Nasser. If Rafa stays beyond the summer, we should look for a like-for-like replacement to ensure there's no drop in quality. The issue that is there, Nasser, I think much like Quaresma, you're not going to get a player that's that same quality.
Yeah,
it's very, very hard.
I think so too. And that's my point with you can argue that no player is worth 6 million a year for Beşiktaş, but I don't think you can argue the quality of Rafa Silva.
Yeah.
And as for the lull cartel, which I think you're correct to note, I mean, it also corresponds with the lull in our form in general, right? Like we were in some of the worst form we've seen in a while when that was happening. So, I mean, everyone was playing like shit. There was a period where it was hard to find anyone who played well.
He even staved off the drop-off quite a while. Because while we were all, I feel like
he'd have those moments of
him and Jetson were still playing good while the rest of the team was dog shit. And then, you know, 6 or so matches into us being dog shit, he also dropped off. But can you blame him? You know, I don't know. I don't think you can.
Anyway, back to the group chat. So we have Emirhan Guven, which is a new name, I believe. Goes ole, ole, ole. Welcome, Emirhan. First time commenter. Like, follow, and subscribe, folks. Nasser says, Ole's Man United had the record for most points from losing positions. Known as the comeback king. We always believed we'd turn it around after going a goal down. Yeah, today it felt like that.
Two matches in a row now.
That's right.
But
today it really even felt like it. Like there was not even a moment when we went down after we went down a goal where I was like, "Oh no,
we just kept going at them," and like I think we had like 3-4 really good attacks before we even equalized, and we equalized really quick even. So
remember that one Rashica had he had like 2 shots at point blank that somehow didn't find the back of the net.
Yeah.
But it still felt like okay, this is gonna happen. Especially the way like João Mário, the way he was bossing things, it was like he's gonna make this happen somehow. And of course, it's funny he didn't even have an assist or a goal in the end. But Gurkan D, who's been around I think before, he says Arda Turan's Eyüpspor was not an easy test. Ole deserves praise. I think we all agree. And yeah, I mean, I can't understate how huge of a victory this was for us. It really does kind of shoot us back into contention for third place. If not, really, I don't know if you could say we're favorites for it. I mean, that's obviously going to depend on the form of Samsunspor and how they play throughout the rest of the season. But in a way, I feel like, you look at our relative form and the quality of our side versus theirs. I mean, you could probably make the argument that we're favorites for third in a weird way, even though, we're 5 points out of it. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
certainly the conversation is back.
If we keep this up, we have our schedule at the moment is looking pretty decent. But there was a right before November started, we were looking at our easy schedule, right? So let's not get too cocky.
Yeah, exactly. I the moment I said it, I thought I should probably check this comment. Anyway, Carlito's back talking about important win. We have a streak. Hope we can continue this. Positive vibes. Yeah, apparently the BN USA guy lied to diminish us as usual.
Since it's still kind of fresh, can I comment on Özcan's comment in the chat? By the way.
Yeah, can I say something first about it? I was gonna. So my first retort to that is like, first of all, the one difference is that we only have one guy who's at that fee, whereas, I mean, but Cheeto, we all agree is.
We have to.
Yeah,
we have to.
True. No, yeah, but Cheeto, we can all agree that's like a bust. He's not worth. I think we already did that. He's not worth this.
Yeah,
and we should probably cut ways with him. But so as far as like going forward and what we're planning around now. I think Rafa Silva, having the one guy at that, if he's going to cost that much, it's not the same as them having as many guys as they do.
Yeah, they have like 7 or 8
each. Yeah, exactly.
Icardi, Osimhen, Mertens,
Talisca.
Well, that's Fener.
I'm already jumping to the other side. Yeah.
Zaha is gone now, I guess, but they had him.
They're probably still paying some of his fees.
I mean, these are all guys that are over 4 million a year, and some of them are on 10 or more. Who am I missing?
Morata,
David
Morata.
Sanchez.
Did you say
Morata? I don't know what those new guys are on that they signed, but like half their team is on 4 million or more, man. Like, most of our players are on like between 1.3 and 2 million. Like, their starting 11 is on more money than our entire squad.
Yeah, I don't think that's a fair comparison. Insofar as
you were gonna retort something. Were you gonna say something else?
Me?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Okay.
And I think you got to start somewhere, right? If we are going to compete with them. We're not going to compete with them financially, but you have to have a few key pieces in place. And I think Rafa qualifies as one of those guys that you can build around. And I think, like I was saying earlier on the podcast, if we can hang on to Jedson and Rafa playing at the level that we've seen them play at, and if João Mário can continue to play, I mean, that's 2 out of 3 of those guys are at cut rate compared to, what our rivals are spending. Mm-hmm. And then, like eventually maybe we need like to spend for another 6 million type of guy who's a guarantee rather than like a Chiro. Or maybe 2 more, even at some point. But hopefully, we're going to build that properly.
We shouldn't exaggerate. But for the context, for the people listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or something, so Özcan Uğur, Kartal's twin brother, said the difference between us paying 6 million for players and Galatasaray or Fenerbahce paying big money is that they are competing. If they were in our position, they would get heat for it as well. And I think the only response needed for that is, I guess you want to stay in our position.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with that last bit.
Because, like, I agree that we shouldn't be.
Yeah,
throwing.
But I don't agree with that kind. I don't think we need to spend like them.
No, but then you need to. Then you need to get. Then you need to
a little bit
strike
of
gold.
Kartal, right?
Then you need to strike goals with every single player you sign. And you need to do
it can't all be. Yeah.
And do you like Kartal? Look at.
If we use our brains, we can beat them. If we use our brains and we plan properly, you can have a strong.
You're making your job too hard, Kartal. If you're going to limit yourself to that extent, right? Like I agree. We're not going to do it like. We're not going to have, as Khan said, like 9 guys who are paying more than that's never going to happen, and we definitely have to develop. The core, the majority of
which
projects,
successful team has a team 100% built on scouting, doesn't have a single big earner? Which team?
Yeah, but I'm not saying you don't need any. Like, you can have your Rafa.
That's what I'm saying. You need.
You need like a Mario Gomez, a Quaresma, right? Like you need a couple of those pieces that you're going to be willing to pay a little more for.
Quaresma came back; he was only on like 1.7.
Yeah, but
sure.
Yeah, but
you don't get him that you don't get him that time unless you get him the first time.
That type of opportunity comes around once in a decade. You have the previous history with the player. The player has a falling out, has a certain reputation. Like that is not a normal scenario. That is not, that is not something. Who could we get now today, realistically, like for such a wage to come to Beşiktaş? Like Talisca isn't gonna come play for 1.7 million a year, right?
I mean, in my honest opinion, man, I think we're not at that stage anyway, man. I think we're at the beginning of this building process, man. I think realistically, we're probably
how long do you want to build, Kartal? Do you want to build for 5 years?
I think we need to build at least the next full season should be preparation, and then I think realistically we're going to have
young players like Keny Arroyo and so on. They get better from playing with someone like Rafa Silva. Their value goes up from playing with someone like Rafa Silva because
we're not saying get rid of Rafa Silva. I'm not saying get rid of Rafa Silva, but
but Özcan is saying that we shouldn't be paying that type of wage to a player.
What he's saying in the comment is my point is that's why they don't get heat for it. I'm not saying we should get rid of Rafa.
But they should get heat for it. They paid 10 million euros for Jellert, who's on the bench more than anything else. They played 20 million euros for Gabriel Sara. 0 goals, 0 assists in his last 15 games or 20 games? I don't know. Like he has 1 assist in Europe.
They should get heat for it, Can, you're right, but see, let's put us in their like, see if we were winning our 3rd title in a row, like obviously it'd be annoying to have spent this money on these busts, right? But ultimately most people would be alright if you're still winning.
Yeah, I mean
that's not true. That's not true because we were winning 2 titles in a row, and our fans were always complaining about this player and that player, or this player and that player. Like even before the 2018-19 season was over, people were bitching about the money that Negredo was making, and at that point,
if Negredo scored 30 goals and not 7, would they be?
But that's hindsight. That's hindsight. They were,
he might have
bitching about this as we signed him. I don't see Fenerbahce fans bitching about what they're paying Talisca. I don't see them bitching about what they're paying Martin Skriniar. I'm not seeing them bitching about what they paid Dzeko or Tadic or anything like that. Like, it's not just the media. It's our own fan base. We do it to ourselves. We self-sabotage by making it a constant issue that a player of Rafa Silva's quality... We're constantly talking about his wages. Constantly.
If you look at social media, Ken, I don't think anyone's going to be talking about Rafa's wages tonight.
Tonight, maybe
hopefully
no.
not.
But do you
Hopefully
think Fenerbahce and Galatasaray fans talk about Rafa Silva's wages?
I mean, I don't think they care about Rafa Silva's wages. Why the fuck would they care about one of their players?
Exactly. I don't think they care. I think they would love to have him on their team.
I
I think they'd pay him 10 million a year and they'd be chuffed.
Yeah, see, Özcan's went on to say if you're winning, people don't care about what you're paying anyone.
Yeah, but is Fener winning
That's
though?
so
Like
true.
Fener hasn't won shit, man.
Besiktas
Fener hasn't
fans-
won anything, and they keep
Besiktas
spending and
fans
spending, and
are
nobody really
always
pays attention.
taking out the accountant hat. Always. When you're winning or not. Besiktas fans are a special breed, man. We're always
My
competing.
argument for you, Cartel, and like, I mean, Özcan's point, and I think it's all tied into this. I don't think you can say that like next year is a throwaway season at this point, given our form going into the summer. I honestly think, I think Cartel, the only way we really compete with the sides like Fener and Galatasaray, who have between 5 and 10 players who they're spending exorbitant amounts of money on, is for us to obviously sparingly bring in a couple guys you can kind of build around. I think Rafa Silva certainly qualifies as one of those. But I think, frankly, you probably need like the next striker we bring in probably is going to have to kind of be one of those guys, right? Because that's got to be a sure thing. We can't really fuck around and like hope to get a guy who's like 24 and like hopefully we'll catch him on the incline. We need someone who's going to come in and drop down 20,
Sanchez, for
25
example,
goals,
you know?
right?
Like a guy in his prime, 27 years old. And maybe you have to pay big money for him, but I think if there's one player on Galatasaray that I would take in a heartbeat, it would be Davinson Sanchez. You know?
Yeah. My argument, Özcan, because he says they are competing those things. I think we should be aiming to compete.
And we should be.
Next.
If we didn't have that November meltdown, and we'd have 10 points more right now, which I don't think 10 points more right now is would be crazy, then we'd be within 6 points of Fenerbahce. Then we'd still be competing for a Champions League spot. Just 10 points more.
Yeah.
But another thing I want to say though is, I mean, look at Alba, for example. Like, we don't need to spend crazy amounts of money to be better than them, man. Like, AZ Alkmaar don't have any players on 6 million or 10 million.
No, but AZ Alkmaar is also not a team with a budget like a big club. Huh? You can't compare that. That's like saying they're a much better team than Galatasaray, though. Ken, we saw it last night.
But Cartel also,
that's
like, the
because
vast
Dutch
majority
clubs
of their
are properly
team
coached.
And the vast majority of their team, Cartel, has come up and played regular minutes from the age of 21, and they're like almost all universally 24, and like part of a to recreate that type of success. And I'm not saying we shouldn't, Cartel. I don't disagree, but that requires us essentially starting up an academy and having like 10 years of these kids coming up and having enough guys of a crop that are good enough to kind of emerge together and form that kind of cohesion.
And they're not a club that are aiming to compete domestically. They're looking for a European ticket. They're not looking to be champions. So obviously they're not going to be bringing in a player on the equivalent of 6 million. For them would be maybe 2 million a year. They're not looking to bring in those players because they're not at that point. They're not competing for the championship. They haven't competed for the championship in a while. Although actually a couple of years ago in the Corona season, they were actually really good and they were competing. But
I will say that you should be able to kind of like operate, with one foot in both of those arenas, right? Like, you'd love for us to have an academy that's making a considered effort to.
It's not just academy, it's also just scouting, but
scouting, but yeah, like where we're getting guys at a young enough age. And
the perfect example of what Besiktas should be aiming for is what Club Brugge have been doing for the past decade. I think that is the perfect formula for Besiktas, where they have some player, like they have their beat, their youth team playing in the second division. So they have kids coming up from there. They have fantastic scouting. They bring in players from all over. They scout, Scandinavia, all that kind of stuff. They scout in South America. They bring in good players from there. And then they have a core of players that make a lot of money for Club Brugge standards. Simon Mignolet, is on a really big contract. Hans van Aken is on a really big contract. Ruud Vormer, he's not there anymore, but he was on a big contract. So they had those key pivotal players that formed the core of their team and that didn't change and stayed for years. Simon Mignolet has been there as long as Loris Karius was with us, I think. Because I think we were going for Mignolet or Karius. We ended up going for Karius, and then Mignolet ended up going to Brugge. So Mignolet has been at Brugge for 6 years or something, or longer. I don't even remember. So he's been there for that long. And Hans van Aken, he went there when he was 23 or 24. He's been there for almost a decade now. And over the decade, he has become one of their, I think he's the all-time top scorer or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but he has.
What is a huge contract for Club Brugge?
Yeah, but for Club Brugge, a huge contract will be, I think Simon Mignolet is maybe on 3 million a year or something.
What about Hans van Aken?
I don't know what Hans van Aken makes. I can look it up if you want. Maybe I can find it.
What
curious.
Is Loris Karius still playing?
He was playing for Tottenham. Sorry, not Tottenham, Newcastle. The last year.
Really? Yeah. As what, the third string keeper or something?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Poor guy.
Apparently, his.
But it's all relative, because you need to understand, Kartal, 2-3 million in Belgium, that's equivalent to 6 million in Turkey easily,
They're doing a lot more in Europe.
So Hans van Aken earns an estimated 81,200 euros per week, totaling around 4.22 million per year. And let's see, and Simon Mignolet. According to available sources, Simon Mignolet is the highest paid player at Club Brugge, earning approximately 82,360 euros per week, which equates to about 4.28 million annually. So these are two players that their team is built around, and they're on 4.2 to 4.3 million a year. That is massive in Belgium. That's insane.
Pre-tax though, I imagine, Ken, won't it?
Of course they pay taxes, but what does it have?
Well, I'm saying pre-tax, before tax, those numbers.
Those are, but what does that matter? I don't understand what that matters.
I'm just saying though, for example, someone that earns 4.2 million in Belgium, that's not the same as earning that money in Turkey.
Nobody has ever made that type of money in Belgium before Club Brugge started paying those wages. The highest paid player in Belgium before that was 2.5 million. And that was very exceptional, and that was only Anderlecht giving out those types of wages.
See, for example, Ciro Immobile gets 6 million net. So the actual gross money that Besiktas pays more than that.
Yeah, so? How many shirts does Club Brugge sell? Let me look it up.
They're almost they're in the Champions League almost every year, but that makes sense.
Yes, so?
That makes it.
Why do you think they are in the Champions League almost every year, Kartal?
Because they're a good team and they do things the right way.
Because they built a team to win. Because they have players like Hans van Aken and Simon Mignolet who are investments of the past, like Jose Mourinho would put it. That's football heritage, is how Jose Mourinho would say it. Those are investments of the past. They got Simon Mignolet when he was 30 or 29 years old, They didn't get him in his prime. I mean, they didn't. Okay, that's a goalkeeper's prime, but they didn't get him when he was 25 or something. They gave him big money back then. And Club Brugge, they haven't been dominating Belgian football that long. It's only been a couple, 6, 7, 8 years or something when they brought in Mignolet. But when they brought in Mignolet, they weren't dominating yet. They started dominating once they started making those types of moves. The club offer most accurate, up to date regarding merchandise. Yeah, there's no data on that, but I know, for example, a club like Racing Genk, they're happy when they sell 20 to 30,000 shirts. Kartal.
Let's get back to the chat, guys. So we've got Snoo, new commenter, SNUW, Snoo. who says, "Do you guys think that maybe we could beat Twente if Ole could have arrived a bit earlier?"
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely.
I definitely think so.
I think if Ole had arrived a little when Gio got sacked, maybe we even have a chance against Bodo, because actually we had a chance against Bodo regardless. We shot ourselves in the foot there. Maybe if he gets brought in after the Gustav match, maybe we don't lose against that team.
Yeah, but
Let's not talk about it. They who shall not be named.
I definitely think we would have. I think we would have had a good chance against Twente. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we'll probably make it out of the group stage, or the whatever stage you call that nowadays. Hi,
But
Retin
Kartel hasn't given his thoughts.
Oh,
What do you think, Kartel?
I mean, we would have had a chance, man. But what you said about after like the Gustav game, I think that was basically impossible. Obviously,
I know. That's wishful thinking.
But if he was in on the 29th, I'd only get elected on the 29th. Let's say he got in on the 30th of December instead of the 17th of January. I think that would up their chances for sure. Yeah.
oh man, I hadn't even thought. Yeah, which would have been pretty real.
We wouldn't have had the massive collapse in the league, and we might have like 6-7 points more right now.
I mean, especially considering that was a guy who was already on a.
Yeah. I mean, you need to look at Samsunspor,
Whatever.
where Samsunspor are right now in the league. I mean, I think that is a very realistic amount of points for us to have. The amount of points that Samsun have in the league right now. And they are, let's see, they're on 23. So they're, how many points behind Fener are they? They're 11 points behind Fener. That's a lot, I know. But like, I think what Samsun have right now, plus minus 9 points. If we wouldn't have completely collapsed, I think we would easily have had that. I think if we would have brought in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a little bit earlier, I think we would have been on 49 points or something right now, easily.
Yeah,
I don't think
would have gone a long way.
Yeah,
for sure. Imagine we were only like 8 points behind Fener. That would be
instead of
we
chasing.
could actually feel kind of interesting about this.
Yeah,
season.
instead of chasing third, I think we'd be in third, and quite comfortably so, honestly.
You guys, it was we've been told by Trippy Galen that was a great debate. So, good job, fellas.
Well,
so
thanks for starting it. It's a.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really good. It's a good argument to have. I think it's
not like you guys were like yelling at each other.
No, it's
it's
a good debate.
So,
I think,
it was,
because I can see where Özcan's coming from. I can see where Kartel's coming from. I think because I've seen the process here in Belgium, and it's not. You have to understand that in Belgium, football has been dominated by Anderlecht for 50, 60 years or something. And Club Brugge have been working on this for a long time, and they are exactly what we should strive to be. Everyone's always talking about Ajax this, Ajax that. Ajax, that's not realistic. We are never going to have the institution of an academy like Ajax. We're never going to have that.
It's a nice dream.
It's a dream,
nice,
but it's unrealistic.
It's a long-term plan.
Ajax,
at the
Dortmund,
best.
that kind of formula, that would take decades for us, because that would require us to actually
build actual
invest
buildings,
really heavily in our academy.
Yeah.
Not just our facilities, but also the scouting of youth and attracting youth and getting them to pick Besiktas over Galatasaray.
And a professionalization on the backside, so that when one president is out, everything is maintained, right? There's a whole a culture shift that would need to take place.
But the Club Brugge formula is much more realistic, because they have a good combination of everything. They have a good combination of scouting, some youth development, and on top of that, they also don't shy away from spending money. And if you want to be successful, you need to also be willing to spend money. And I think Keny Arroyo hopefully will prove to be the point of that. Because it's not because you're getting talented players, young players, that you're going to be getting them dirt cheap. You're going to luck out from time to time and sign Oğuz Hanuz Yakup for 500k, and you're going to find maybe a Tolga Arslan for 500k, and maybe you'll get a guy like Elan Ricardo. Hopefully he's going to be successful for Beşiktaş, and then you buy him for under 2 million. But sometimes you're also going to have to splash, and if you look at Keny, if you want 80% of his financial rights, that's 9.2 million. That's a big transfer fee. You know, if we talked about this last season as well with Mucci and with Musrati, those moves, especially Musrati now, you know, that's kind of been, you know, we cut that experiment short. But I think if you want to be successful in that way and you want to compete with being smarter, like how Kartel says, and that is definitely 100%, Kartel is 100% right. If Beşiktaş want to be successful, we cannot outspend Fenerbahçe and Galatasaray. We can't do that. So we have to be smarter than them. But being smarter doesn't only mean investing and scouting in young players. You also need to bring in experience and quality and players that will enhance the young players around them. Because playing with a guy like Rafa Silva is going to benefit Keny Arroyo, is going to benefit Elan Ricardo, and we need to, in a couple of years, we'll need a new Rafa Silva. You know, like we can't stand still.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare our 15-16 squad to Fenerbahçe spent a lot more money than us, but we had built a good core over a few year period, and then you added in Quaresma and Gomez to that, and it took it to the next level.
But you don't always need to add that topping when you're ready to take the jump. Like, it's not because then we added Quaresma and Gomez when we were ready to win. But sometimes you need to add those players already beforehand. Like the season or 2 seasons before. Because you start building. Like it's not all like, I don't agree with the argument of but we aren't competing right now, so we shouldn't be spending. Maybe I agree with the fact that it's kind of pointless to an extent to give 6 million a year to a 31-year-old player if you're not ready to play for the trophies. But then again, I think if we don't have our collapse this season, which was ridiculous, let's be honest, I think Beşiktaş should always be able to win at least 60% of the matches they play. And if we would have won 60% of those matches in that really terrible stretch of matches, we would be in a much better position right now, and we would still theoretically be competing.
I'll never forgive Hassan Aratsport for what happened.
Yeah.
Because this isn't like last year where the team was just terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
Certainly not to the same extent, yeah. No.
It's an unbalanced team, obviously, lacking wingers. Immobile started well, but he's fallen off big time. Our foot, Masuaku's doing great now, but he was a huge liability for us earlier on. Obviously, this team had its holes, and it was probably never going to win the league. But this team should have been comfortably third.
Yes,
still.
100%.
Yep.
We have enough high points this season. Last season, our only highlight last season was a win against Trabzonspor in the second half of the season, and winning the cup in the final again. The cup final against Trabzonspor. That were our only highlights last season. And other than that, it was just pure misery all season. We got dogged by Fenerbahçe twice. We got beaten by Galatasaray twice. You know, we didn't have any highlights in Europe other than, Dynamo Kiev, but looking back at that wasn't too much of a highlight given where they are right now. We didn't have any big moments, big wins other than that cup last season. This season we've had multiple ones already, We had the Lyon game, we had the Super Cup against Galatasaray, we had the home game against Fenerbahçe, we had the Athletic Club match. We had, Trabzon recently. So, we can see this team is not enough. The squad is not enough to win the league. But we definitely, you can see the potential of this squad. And 100%. This team is capable of so much more than last season's Beşiktaş. Our ceiling is much, much higher. We've just, dipped too much.
We shouldn't be almost 20 points back. I mean, maybe 5 to 10 points.
10 points,
10, considering how thin we are on the wings and the lack of quality, even. Hopefully that's partially addressed, because I still think we need at least another winger.
I mean, it's worth noting though that Solskjaer has kind of shown that even just with Rashica and João Mário, he can get more than we'd seen for a while.
But he's completely transformed.
It's not quite enough.
João Mário right now is looking like a top quality player.
Yeah. Yeah, but as I was saying, like this season would never have went the way it did if it wasn't for the Hassan Arachbold. It's their fault.
Yeah.
This is the situation we're in.
100%.
And
No.
Hassan
yeah.
Arat's board, but also Ahmet Nuchebi's board, because a lot of the dead weights that was left that we had to get rid of.
It was a lame duck session,
Yeah,
exactly.
like I saw this week, I saw a lot of reports again about, Beşiktaş paid only 300,000 euros to go away, and Beşiktaş paid this player that, and this player that, and this player that. But that's all Ahmet Nuchebi's fault, that Beşiktaş had to pay these players. You know?
Yeah.
So it's not just.
I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
I criticised the Collie signing when it happened, man. I said, what was the point in getting another left-footed centre back? Roland Saiz. But don't get me.
Yeah.
I think Saiz and Collie did do well for that 6-month period as a duo. But then Collie the next year, despite him scoring goals, I think Collie was a huge liability in the 320.
I always liked Collie, but I mean, I think Felix, other than offensive headers, Collie's offensive headers were fantastic.
Yeah,
I think he's an upgrade on every other front.
Aye.
And he's young,
Like literally,
and he's a lot younger, and he doesn't have a shoulder that's constantly dangling out of its socket.
Yeah, exactly. Back to the comments quickly. Hayrettin Akun, new fella. Hey, you guys. Hey, Hayrettin, what's going on? Nasser says, Ole mentioned in his second or third game that he doesn't like long balls, and ever since we've rarely seen them. Yeah. Maybe that's why he got rid of Al Musrati.
I don't think so, because those were functional long balls.
Yeah, I know.
I think what Ole meant,
they were in a controlled manner.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't like
I think when you're aimlessly playing long balls, I don't think anyone likes that. But some people don't find the solution to it. And the funny thing is, like, we were playing for we started well on the Geo, but when we started dropping off, like those aimless long balls, and even before that they were kind of already there, and like Gio couldn't find a solution to it at all, like and Serdar couldn't find a solution to it, and Ole in a matter of weeks has completely eliminated it from our game almost.
Somehow the solution was João Mário. Nasser also says, it's great to watch the team play fast transitional football, moving the ball swiftly from one end to the other. I mean, it is great. We've sort of already talked about what's sort of making that happen. Hayrettin follows up his initial post, very first, with, I feel like João Mário is a new transfer for Beşiktaş. He's great. Yeah.
100%.
He's the
night and day, like the team itself. Say again, Carter?
Best January signing was João Mário.
yeah, exactly. For sure. Nasser says, what's really encouraging, I was going to say this too, is the post-game comments from Tayyip, João Mário, and Semih, especially regarding the team structure and Ole's impact. He says, the fact that Ole is personally working with Semih on his finishing shows he's actively involved in coaching and not just taking a back seat. Great management from him. And like I said earlier, the thing that maybe was on the edge of giving me a brain aneurysm last week was Rashid's just complete boneheaded crossing, and it really feels like, I don't know if Ole's got them looking at tape or if he's looking at tape and just giving them direct comments, but it's very clear he told Rashid, like, what you're doing to sort of get into positions, to sort of shoulder guys out and kind of put yourself in the position to get those crosses off is fantastic. Let's just take it easy with those crosses, man. Like, instead of going for glory, just take a little time, breathe, and just center it in on the ground, and like, let's see what happens. If it causes chaos, that's still helpful for us. So, I mean, it's obvious that he's going in and giving guys individualized critique with constructive critique, I guess you could say.
I mean, we keep saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but I do feel like we should also give props to Erling Mo, because clearly he has a big part in this as well. You know, like, I know our Man United fans that are joining us recently, they're all about Ole. I understand. Yeah. I think we also need to give credit to Erling Mo, because it's clearly not just Ole. It's like the entire team. So Richard Hartet. I keep messing up his last name, but like that entire staff is clearly doing a great job. And they've really
and
turned it around.
How about the fact, Khan, that he's earned himself a spot on that coaching team?
You wanna hear something funny? Sinan?
Let's hear it.
So,
yeah.
like, I don't know if this is true, but like, there's something I read. Apparently, they kept Cedric around because Ole and Mo and all that, they struggled with the names of the players. Obviously.
He knows.
So I don't know if that's true, man. Like, that feels like such a cynical thing, but yeah, I mean,
and obviously he's like a nice enough guy who's pleasant enough to be around that nobody's like, get rid of this freaking guy. He's he's not asserting himself too much. He's clearly not,
Like, one of the main things I don't like about him still being around is that he's gonna be like, inevitably Ole's gonna leave. Whether it be through the back gate or the front gate, hopefully the front gate, and hopefully in many years to come, like many years down the road, hopefully. But like at some point he'll leave, and I don't want them to be like, oh yeah, Cedric's taking over again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hopefully the plan is when Ollie leaves, Ellen Moore becomes the head coach.
Yeah. I mean, and hopefully, hopefully it's gonna be a really long time before.
Maybe, we don't even have to. It's it's like he's our new Alex Ferguson. Anyway, keeping on the Man U vibes there. Hayrettin, we already did that. Nasser, we did. Hayrettin again. So he said Matt was good. I think this is when we were talking about the lineups. He goes, so we were talking about the refs. Hayrettin, we could probably move on to the refs now, Con, if you wanted to, because Hayrettin says side refs suck, or that they sucked, rather. They relied on VAR and didn't raise the flag for clear offsides.
When?
And there's been unfair,
or what?
And there were unfair corner kicks and so many things. I mean, look, Hayrettin, I think given how we've been screwed by refs so many times and the sort of terrible manner that it's happened, the fact that they were like a little slow with the offsides calls a couple times, like I'm all right with that. At least they got the calls right. So, we don't have to be too upset by that. And again, like at least the refs weren't the main character. Too many refs in Turkey have that main character energy where they need to
100%.
affect the narrative.
My God. Like Halil Meler and the likes. My God, man. I'm not gonna say anything derogatory because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, let's not get sued. But yeah, there's a lot of terrible people. No, Grey Wolf. It was too cold for Kenny. He hit underneath the Besiktas.
I thought he looked good when. I mean, he didn't get that.
Yeah, once he came out, he was great.
I thought he was. I mean,
Rafa Silva might have saved the goal.
I think. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does that go in? If I mean, maybe great goalkeeper in goal, of course, but does that go in? If
selfish, he should have slipped Rafa through. If he slips Rafa through, Rafa's 1-on-1.
Yeah, but I think.
But credit to him. I mean, he's
him,
going for glory.
Wanting to score on his debut, it's 3-1. I think you can forgive him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if he has a shot like that in his bag, you gotta let him have a crack at it.
Yeah, I can definitely forgive it, but obviously it wasn't the ideal decision.
No, yeah.
Well, hopefully when he's like in form and I
don't know, man. Like
see more.
He blasts that in.
That's true. Maybe nobody says anything.
Yeah.
It goes in. So here we go, guys. Ready for some Turkish? From yours truly. So Grey Wolf says, Semih Kiliçsoy, and he quotes, İdman sonları Ole Hoca ile bol bol son vuruş çalışıyor.
Basically, he's just saying that they practice a lot of finishing after training.
He said that, yeah. Semih said that.
Did I butcher our mother tongue?
It's fine. They were saying that
çalışıyoruz. I gotta figure that out.
It was working.
And then Hayrettin says, I thought he was in the washroom. I don't know who's in the washroom. Maybe it was me when I was making my coffee. I'm guessing. I wasn't taking a leak, folks. That was a coffee that I was making. I promise. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. Carlito says, Cheeto has himself to blame. Hope Ole can get him back on track. We don't have the luxury of missing a player. Yeah, and I think that's another thing we have to consider, that since we are paying him $6 million, we've got to try to get the most out of him that we can for at least these next 6 months until we can offload. So, and again, the locker room is functioning at a high level, and I suspect he's a part of that. So we've got to keep that humming as best we can.
100%.
Grey Wolf, I can't believe people are complaining about Rafa. Ridiculous.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it's the other group chat that.
It's not just. I mean,
the toxic chat. Trippy Galen, by the way, good to see you back.
Yeah, definitely, man. By the way,
He says,
I know I'm on my phone, but I'm just spamming Twitter to let people know that we're live.
Here. Trippy Galen says, "Thank God Ole's at the wheel. Feels good to finally be here, not to commiserate." Yeah, it's nice to not be doing group therapy for a change. Although again, like I said, I think if you do have a therapist, you're supposed to go to them with your good days as well. So this could still qualify as therapy, perhaps. And we'll see. Maybe we'll get out of it, and we won't need therapy anymore one of these days. Grey Wolf says, "What do you think the chances are in finishing in third now?" We already kind of talked about this, but I think they're definitely significantly better having defeated Eyüpspor. I think in a way, Eyüpspor was the key game as far as reasserting ourselves into that conversation. I think getting not just a win, but a convincing one. You know, I'm usually the more pragmatic one among us. You know, I asked Atil if I had. Atil's usually the. For anyone who doesn't know, Atil Malak is in our group chat. He's typically here live as well. He's usually the exuberant one with his enthusiasm and all that, his optimism. And so I asked him if he's usually the first one to signal optimism. So, but yeah, I think third place is back, folks. Let's aim for it.
Yeah. That's our next. I mean, we need to look up like before this game. We needed to look at fourth, and people were talking about third and all that kind of stuff. But like, no, you need to look. Don't look too far. Yeah. Don't get ahead of yourself. Fourth was our goal. We have that now. Yeah. We need to hold on to that. But we also need to look up now.
We're not only 1 point over Eyüp now, but we also have that game in hand. So we could theoretically be 4 points up if we win that. Whenever that bye week is made up for us, I am curious as to when that is, but. Anyway, following Nasser, Nasser says, if Rafa stays beyond the summer, we should look for we already talked about this, I guess, the like-for-like replacement. Grey Wolf says, Rafa is a great transfer. Nasser says, Beşiktaş needs depth in quality, but building that won't happen in just one transfer window. No. Yeah, and I think nothing can highlight that better than seeing Onur Bulut get trotted out as your backup left back, later in this match today. Clearly, we have a massive need for depth. But, we're getting there.
Let's get a really good first 11 first, and then we can worry
about
that,
first,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's make sure we have, like, a winger first.
Before we finish when we finish the comments, I actually have a question to ask you guys, but let's finish the comments first. Oh, well.
All right.
Well, actually, you know what? I'll ask the question already. Then people can actually give their 2 cents on it. But then we'll get to it after we finish. So, my question is: should we extend Arthur Masuaku for favorable financial numbers?
All right, I'm ready to answer.
I don't answer already, man.
Yeah, but let's talk about it in a bit. Let's continue.
I know mine too. John, the difference between us. Okay, we've already talked about that one. That was the big debate. Yeah, we'll skip the debate ones. If he does leave, break the bank for Bruno Fernandes, is what Nasser is saying, as the replacement for Rafa Silva.
Bruno Fernandes makes a little bit more than $6 million a year, so I don't see that happening.
That has like a Galatasaray transfer all over.
I don't think that's a affordable player to anyone in Turkey. I think that's a Saudi Arabia transfer.
Yeah, that could be an Al Nasser. Grey Wolf, definitely 100% Ole and the staff. Maybe Al Nasser will give Fener a cut rate again, knowing them. That my conspiracy on that kind of. Grey Wolf says definitely 100% Ole and the staff in the team rise in performance. Let me do a little ESL correction here. Definitely, Ole has 100%. Ole and the staff have 100% been behind the team's rise in performance. Ole is having fun. You can tell the players are having fun. They have a better mentality. Any credit should be given to Adale. I mean, I'll give him credit for putting people in place and backing out and letting them do their jobs. Yeah, for sure.
By the way,
Anyone else want to add to that?
Bruno Fernandes makes £350,000 per week.
Whoa!
So,
That's a lot.
So how much is that in euros? Let's see what ChatGPT. I'm just asking. I've been abusing ChatGPT in recent. That's 18.2 million pounds, which equates to 21.3 million euros a year. So that's a little bit more than Rafa Silva makes.
Yikes!
Like basically, 40% of that goes to the taxman, though.
Yeah, but still.
Probably.
Yeah, but that's really.
But you keep bringing that up, but like it doesn't change what the club has to pay.
It doesn't change what he's paid, but like, see, I'm just saying because see, outside of Turkey, it's always the player's gross salary that's reported. But in Turkey, it's almost always the net salary. So it's important to differentiate between the two, because, for example,
in Turkey, the tax is only 15%, so it's like almost negligible, And in Europe, it's like in most countries, it's like around between 45 and 50%. I think in France, it's even like 60 something.
That's crazy, man.
Carlito follows up Rayl's question about Adale, saying, despite being late with it, Adale did a great job with the technical staff. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah, and we criticize...
Yeah, I mean, so far it looks like they've put the right people in place.
And we criticize that, but you have to give... Not Adale necessarily, but you have to give the technical staff big credit, because what we're seeing right now, the improvement in the team and all that, like, that is 95% the players that they already had available to them. Like, that's like not even 95%. I think right now, not a single player that came in January has come in. In fact, we lost Musrati, so it's 100. The starting 11 is 100% the players that they had when they came in. Therefore, like the biggest transfer is João Mário, obviously, but like. It's this technical staff.
It's a coaching
so
maybe
staff, we have to praise Adale and for.
They definitely made the right choice.
Because the technical staff has made such a massive impact, such a massive difference. And that's not going to change if we next week don't win or anything like that. I think it's very tangible already. Like, we can see the difference. It's not just the results; it's also the way we play. By the way, new subscriber, thank you very much for hitting that subscribe button. If you're watching and you're not yet subscribed,
Idil Tuzan subscribe to the channel.
Well. Let's see, who is our new subscriber? Idil Tuzun.
Idil
Tuzun.
Idil.
That's not the other.
That's not our old Idil.
That's not our old. That's our new Idil. Thank you very much, Idil, for subscribing to the Black Eagles podcast.
All right, let's move on to the next comment. Where were we? Nasser, this is sort of about the debate, but we didn't really address his comments. He says there needs to be a balance. Beşiktaş might not be able to compete financially with other clubs, but they're taking the right approach by strengthening the scouting team and signing young talents. That said, bringing in one marquee signing to complement the project would help maintain the right mix.
Yeah, and that's the key, I think. So Fenerbahce and Galatasaray, they have like 6, 7, 8 players on really, really high wages. We can't compete with that. That does not mean we can't have 2 or 3. When they have 8, we can have 2 or 3. But we need to make sure that they're surrounded by superior scouted talent. And the guys we do sign on higher financial conditions need to be guarantees. They can't be players in the twilight of their careers, 34, 35 years old, like Gabriel Paulista and Ciro Immobile. They need to be guys in their primes. Rafa Silva, 31 years old. He's still in his prime. He's coming off of a career season. Obviously, ideally, you'd want him to be a couple of years younger. But like Kartel has said so many times in the past on the podcast, Rafa Silva is literally coming off of the best season of his career statistically in terms of goal contributions. So that's the type of player we need to be bringing in. We shouldn't be bringing in a Ciro Immobile that's been winding down for the last 2 seasons already at his club. We need to be bringing in guys on when they're those types of conditions, those types of wages, those types of financial investments involved. They need to be, and of course, there's no certainty in football. Somebody can tear his ACL tomorrow. Somebody can walk under a bus, whatever. But, relative certainty you need to have when you make those types of investments.
Grey Wolf says, imagine the squad Ole will form in the summer. We are actively imagining it. Finnish Kebab says, Karius plays in Schalke together with Kenan Karaman, which is a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Trippy Galen, as we said, he said it was a great debate. He says his recap of the last few weeks. We're playing football to be proud of. The only thing we're missing is total domination in games. Given time, I believe we will have that as well. Knock on wood.
I think we had that. I kind of think we had that
today. Felt pretty dominant.
Yeah, and we actually haven't had to look at the stats yet, so maybe we should take a little break in the comments if that's okay, Sina. And we should have a quick look at
this. Hold on. We're almost done.
Let's
get these comments out of the way quickly.
That's wrong.
Because we're very close. Grey Wolf says, you think Okan will be fired if Galatasaray lose the Fener? Grey Wolf, we don't care.
I don't think so.
We're not going to talk about our rivals. But here, the reason I want to do this, because there were some answers to your question by Arthur Masuaku, Khan, before we move on entirely. We don't want to drop that. But Grey Wolf says, I don't know my algo changed or the campaign was dropped, but ever since the team been playing better, I haven't seen any Fikret Twitter posts. Oh, is he dropping the ball on that now? Maybe he doesn't feel like he needs to run anymore, which would make sense to be fair because Fikret Orman. But yeah, so he says. So Grey Wolf says no extension for Arthur. Nasser says Arthur has been excellent under Ole, and if they can't find a solid replacement, they should extend his stay. He's also one of the team's top assist providers. Alternatively, they could bring in a young up and coming fullback to rotate with him and build for the future. And so that's actually my answer to your question, Con. I'm gonna jump the gun and answer it. I would say that we could re-sign Masuaku for, as you said, favorable financial terms, if we also bring in someone who can challenge him for that position. And I think, a Yasin Özcan, it's too late.
That's too late.
To get him.
He's gone to Aston Villa. Yeah.
Yeah, but a player of that ilk, and he doesn't have to be Turkish, perhaps,
Yeah, someone like Samuel Dal, maybe, but like...
Exactly. Someone who can challenge him, because we're going to need depth. We don't want to just automatically offload him if we don't need to, given the loosening of the foreign limits next season.
We still don't quite 100% know how that's going to work, though, because, like...
That's true. Yeah, but I feel like we'll be allowed to keep the guys that we already have. So in a sense, it almost puts pressure on you to do as much, right? Because... even though these guys aren't on the national teams, like it's maybe your last chance to have players of that sort.
But they didn't mention it, but I think it sounds too good to be true that there will be no limit. Like I feel like it's still going to be 14.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Asterisk as far as the foreign limit goes, but I would say there's no sense offloading Masuaku unless if someone comes in with a bunch of money. And you have a solid replacement lined up.
He's leaving.
Oh yeah, that's not even an option. Yeah. Forget that. So I would say re-sign him if we can for a reasonable amount of money, and in addition, bring in someone who can challenge him for that spot to bring out the best in him. And if he also drops the ball again, he's out. It doesn't hurt us.
What about you, Cartel?
What about you, Cartel? Yeah.
I think under no circumstances should his contract be renewed.
Under no circumstances?
Yeah, no circumstances. I think he's proven to be a liability too often. We need players that are always going to give their all and not going to switch off. Always going to be concentrated. Well, not always, but not a lot more than Masuaku has been for the most part this season. And the fact he's 32 years old as well now. I think we should say thank you for your services and say goodbye, man.
Is he 32?
I think he's at least turning 32 this year, man. I can check that.
See what ChatGPT says.
I mean, if he's 31, that's not.
32. So he's not.
I don't really care about his age. Again, like I think. My feeling about him is that if you can get someone who can challenge him for his position, it doesn't really matter that much if he switches off. Then you can sell him, and if you have him under contract for like, let's say 2 years at a reasonable rate, you could, like, we've had teams come in for him supposedly, like Olympiacos, right? Like, I feel like you could probably offload him in the following window and maybe make a little money off of him.
I'm thinking that they're probably just saying we'll take him off you for free. Otherwise, I think it would be with this.
I mean, maybe so. But I mean, I don't know why that would be the case, because I don't think, if you look at him objectively from like a scouting perspective, right, and you don't see those lulls in form. Sure, no, I know, but like, he's more than serviceable, right? And there are clubs in a position where they're going to need, like in a January transfer window when teams get a little desperate. I mean, I don't know. Maybe making money is a little ambitious, but all I'm saying is I don't think if it's not a bad deal financially, and if you do have someone to spell him, for when, if he decides to, flake out again, I don't think there's much harm in it.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I mean, and I've been, I think, hardest of anyone on Masuaku this season. I think when he plays like he's playing right now, like, I could definitely see there being a space for him in the squad still next season. Mainly because I think we should be bringing in somebody who can take that spot from him, who can be our starting left back, 100% dude. But the problem is, if you do let him go, you don't only need to bring in that player, you also need to bring in a backup.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Unless we have like somebody lined up, like, I don't want Tayfur Bingöl back, honestly. Like,
we already have Battier and Emrecan Terzi as well.
Yeah, but Emrecan Terzi hasn't had a single minute this season. I think that should tell you something. I don't think the club sees any future in him.
Especially given the how this season has gone, right? He's had every opportunity.
Yeah. Bakhtiar, I think will go, man. I fully expect Bakhtiar actually to be sold. I think we will actually make some money on him. Hopefully, 5 million or so. Add that to the 5 million we'll probably be getting for Demirege, and the 10 million we'll be getting for Musrati. We could looking at 20 million coming in the summer. My main reason to maybe consider it would be that we don't have to bring in 2 left backs. Now, having said that, I think if there's like a good option abroad that the scouts found, like a Gurbeci or something, like a Diaspora Turk, Mert Komur, isn't he a left back? I'm not sure what position he plays. But there's gonna be options. If you can find someone like that, bring that kid in, and then hopefully bring in a Samuel Dahl type before he goes to AS Roma. Because once a player like that moves to AS Roma, you're starting to pay big fees.
It's fast. It's over.
You need to get them when they're at Djurgårdens or at AIK Stockholm or something, or that's when you need to get the kids. Hopefully we can find the next Samuel Dahl, and then we can add like a good Turkish option for the rotation.
Do you see him, Mert Kumur, Khan?
Yeah, I don't know what position he plays.
He's
number 10. Okay, fair enough. I didn't know. I'm sure there's somebody there in Germany, that plays left back or right back or whatever. Ideally, you get a good player that can can play both positions, right? They can play both left and right back serviceably, and then you can hold off on replacing Svensson, and then bring in a starting left back. And then if you have a good backup that can play both positions, that's the ideal world, right? Let's look at those numbers.
By the way, it's 3-3 the vote right now. So Khan, myself, and Nasser are pro Masuaku potentially, and then 3 votes against with Kartal.
I mean, I'm tentatively
Trippy Galen and Huzur, the Grey Wolf.
Yeah.
Huzur is he says no extension multiple times. He's not letting us letting that go.
Yeah, no, I get that.
54% possession for Besiktas, so we're back in the plus, back in the green. XG 2.88 to their 1.36.
Pretty high for them. I'm surprised, honestly.
Yeah, I don't even know how. I'm telling you, man, it's
really
that Galatasaray.
big
It's the
chance
Galatasaray guy, Con.
Yeah,
It's the conspiracy. The conspiracy lives.
Yeah.
18 total shots by us to their 7. 7 on target to their 3. 5 big chances to their 2.
Yeah.
We missed 3 of those. They missed 1. I don't really two big. They had 2 big chances. The Mametian
5
one
big
again.
chances for us seems low, honestly.
I know. I feel like because like Rashica had 2 on that one possession.
Yeah, I suppose they only counted once or something.
Yeah, but they must.
I mean, it might tweak because
reduction
right after the Trabzon game, it had us at 0 big chances, and then like the day after, it had us at 2. So like this, your mileage may vary when you check this. You know.
Mm-hmm.
They do tend to update like 24 hours later.
Yeah, we haven't gotten the newest. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Accurate passes. Now, this is what I like to see. We're back up around 400. 392 at an 83% rate. Our opponent completed 319 passes at an 83% rate.
Surprisingly accurate passes given the pitch conditions.
Both sides? Yeah, that's true. That's true. Although maybe they were a little more conservative with their passes because of that. But 10 fouls committed by our opponent to our 7. Which, you know, good job, ref. I feel like that rarely happens. But anyway, I guess that's not true. Usually our opponents commit even more fouls than that. There aren't.
A lot of offsides, man. It feels like this season we've had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were offside 6 times, as Con was sort of
maybe
alluding
indicative to
they were offsides 4 times.
To our initiative and our hunger going forward.
Yeah, in this case, I think it's a good sign. They had 4 corners to our 2. Which is a little bit surprising. I'm surprised. I mean, I guess it's because all of our shots were on target. No, that's not really true. I mean, how is that possible? We had 18... whatever. I mean, we had 7 shots on target. Right? And 3 goals. So that should be at least 4. I guess they didn't go out for corners, I guess. I mean, anyway, whatever.
Crosses and stuff like that. I don't know.
I guess they came back out into play. I mean, it's weird. Yeah, I don't know. That's a sort of statistical fluke. You would have imagined we'd have more corners.
Weird,
You're definitely in their end of the pitch a lot more, but it is what it is. I guess just run of play. I guess, and I bet they had most of their corners were in the beginning of the first half. You know. Anyway, Cartel, how about them duels?
Yeah. So on the duels, actually they won more of the duels, so they won 56% of them.
Which is surprising, by the way, because their player Steparenko after the match actually said that was one of their biggest issues today, is that they didn't win the duels, and statistically at least they won more of them. I guess they just didn't win the key duels.
Ground duels, they won 59% of them, so 41 to 29. Aerial duels, we had the advantage there. We won 57%. We had won 8 to their 6. Successful dribbles, they had 10, a 56% clip. So that will tell you what, they tried maybe 18 dribbles throughout the game. We had 3 successful dribbles, which seems very, very low at 20% clip. That strikes me as bullshit, man. That can't be right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dribbles all game.
It does seem very low, and I feel like João Mário alone had like 6.
You get the cards. I need to go and get the door.
Let's see the cards then. The yellow cards, 2 for Eyüpspor, the hosts, and just the 1 for Beşiktaş for Ahmetovic. 0 red cards for either side. Yeah, I mean, that was the statistical... everyone's gone. What is this?
Sorry, I was making a coffee. I'm on coffee number 3 here. This is a long podcast.
All right.
No,
well, I think we'll be winding down now. Let's finish off these comments, and then I think we can call it a night, because it's getting...
everyone's disappearing anyway. Apparently, no. Yeah, no, you can hear my coffee machine in the background.
Going for 2 hours. I think that's a good time.
No, yeah, we haven't even run that long. Yeah, no, we're up to date on the comments. You know, it was the kind of shakeout between who was for and against the Arthur Masuaku thing. One comment, I guess, that we should probably address last is Trippy Galen. No, sorry, Grey Wolf. Oh, so there's another comment just added right after. Grey Wolf says they need to find a replacement for Mert, and that should be a good conversation to run us out here. Yeah. I fully agree, and like I said at the beginning of the podcast, maybe Berke Uzer is a guy. That way we have a
I am a big.
Better move quick though.
I'm a big proponent of getting a foreign goalkeeper, but like, I think that's one of those things you can't skimp out on. You need to like sign a proper foreign goal, like like I talked about before. Mignolet was a really big investment for Club Brugge at the time. Their all-time highest paid player. At the time, record signing fee. I think they paid 7 million euros for them. Right now, I mean, if you look at Club Brugge since, so they have frequently broken the 10 million mark and more. But at the time when they signed him, he was their most expensive transfer of all time for, I believe, 7.5 or 7 something million euros. I think that is what Beşiktaş need to do as well when it comes to our next goalkeeper. Now, whether that's
to back you up, Khan, as a prime example, I think I was watching Fener yesterday in Europe, and it's hard to watch them and feel like they're fine with İrfan Can Eğribayat in goal, right? Like, and that's kind of what you'd be doing with Berke Uzer, is getting one of those like middle-aged, slightly youngish Turks who, theoretically could be good, but like, do you really want to rely on them going into, like, for example, a season in Europe, right? Like, I mean, that's fair.
Berke has
maybe it'd be nice.
Really
it'd be nice
good.
if we could get Berke but then you're almost, that's like redundant.
I think for Berke, if you want him,
he's got to make that move.
You're paying a lot of money. Yeah. Because judging by the amount of money,
the stats this year.
No, just judging about the amount of money that Galatasaray had to pay to get Ahmet Kutucu, 6 million euros. Like, I can't imagine they're gonna let Berke go for less.
How much did Fener pay for İrfan Can?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe not that much, I would imagine. Like 2 million, maybe.
And because they kind of got lucky, right? Because he got sold to like France or something, and then they got him after he kind of didn't quite settle in there.
Doğan Alemdar, I think, that you're thinking of.
Oh, is that right? Have I got it
so.
right?
İrfan Can was at...
I thought he'd made a move.
Was it Göztepe, I think, right, Katal? İrfan Can Eğribayat? Wasn't he at Göztepe?
Göztepe's goalie for years, man,
Yeah.
And he had like a fallout with the fans where they like were swearing at his dead daughter and stuff like that, so now he's completely cut ties with him.
Yeah. I think he's
swearing at his dead daughter. Fuck. That's grim.
I think he's a pretty decent keeper, honestly. I mean, for Turkish goalkeeper standards.
Yeah.
Berke,
no, I mean, he is. It's a good gamble in a way. It's just, again, right, like when you're seeing them in Europe, you're kind of there's that itch in the back of your head, like shit. I mean, like, are we putting our whole team on the back of this kid?
But the thing with Berke is, like, I think when he was at Fener, but he was much younger. When he was like the backup to Altay, he played a bunch of games and he looked shaky to me. He's a couple of years on now, and very important for a goalkeeper. He got a ton of experience. First, he went to Belgium, played for Westerlo, did really well there. Now he's at Eyüp.
That's probably what I'm thinking.
Doing really well. I think definitely. And Berke was always like, seen when he was back at Altinorde. He was seen as like the big talent, like linked to Manchester City and stuff like that. Like he was like a generational goalkeeping talent. He is still very young. He's still only 24 years old. Part of me would hate to see him get snapped up by Galatasaray, because imagine if he turns out to be
to be that
generational goalkeeper talent, and they go from Muslera to that, so like another 10 years of stability, 10 plus years of stability between the sticks. I know they're really dogging on Muslera nowadays, but how much mileage did they get out of that guy, man? Like, he was and he was a pretty hefty investment from them back then. I think they paid close to 10 million euros for him back then. Like, that was so much. I don't know exactly.
I think it's like a loan. It was a loan the first year, wasn't it, in 2011, and then they signed him permanently in 2012, I think.
I think I don't know. How much did?
By the way, Grey Wolf says he wants us to get a young goalkeeper, which that's as a replacement for Matt. That's a little.
No,
tough.
I wouldn't.
I don't think you can do that.
I wouldn't go. It depends on what you mean with young, by the way. So they paid 6.75 million in 2011.
So they just outright
I think
from the
right. So the deal also included Lazio receiving Lorik Chana, valued at around 5 million euros. Yeah, I remember that. So So they signed him for roughly, let's call it 7 million back then, but that's 2011. So 7 million 2011, that's a pretty big investment. So I don't know what Grey Wolf means by a young goalkeeper. I'd like to see us sign like a 27, 28-year-old goalkeeper, someone who's just coming into their prime, who still has lots of years ahead of him, which is like young, but for a goalkeeper,
the
experience under his belt, but is still young enough that he's gonna last you for 6-7 years ideally. That's what I would ideally want, and I want it to be like a really good goalkeeper who plays, preferably a foreigner, because I don't trust Turkish goalkeepers, and maybe Berke Özer is going to be the exception to that personal rule, but we'll see.
And this is actually an important point, and Nasser brings it up kind of in passing, maybe not knowing the full extent of it, but he says Richard Hardis did say that the club has good young keepers, so I suspect one of them could potentially become the number one. They've talked a lot about this Göktuğ kid. I know for a long time there was talk of this Emre Demir or something like that, like who I think is even younger than Göktuğ, or at least around that age, quite young. Emin Yaşar, there you go. Yeah, I sort of made up a name, but yeah, I think we do suppose have quite a few good young keepers in our camp there. Yeah. So yeah, Nasser says Man U has Altay Bayındır available.
Oh yeah,
no
you
thanks.
Can keep him.
No thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
Grey Wolf says early or mid-20s. Yeah, I think that's a stretch.
Göktuğ Baytekin, his biggest drawback is his height, right? Like we saw it in the preseason, how probably was, he's listed as 186, I believe. I don't know if he's...
How old was Muslera when he came to Galatasaray?
Must have been like 26, 27. I think he's...
Yeah, I don't think Muslera was in his early 20s when he came.
No, I think he was mid-20s. Let's see.
He's just super old right now. 25, is what it is.
25,
yeah. So mid-20s. I mean, that's like roughly what you'd get if you sign Berke Özer now, right? And if he works out. But again, like...
You're right, Atılcan. Yeah, Emre Demir is the Barca kid. And Connor's right. It's something Yaşar. In Football Manager, he ends up being Beşiktaş's starting goalkeeper, this Yaşar kid.
But let's be honest though, given how Ersin has been treated by our fan base, I don't really want to do that to any young academy graduate. I think
that's true. We still have Ersin, who's probably the 5th best Turkish goalkeeper in the world right now, ironically. Atılcan says that name didn't come out of nowhere. Thank you, Atılcan. I'm glad that someone's got my back out there. Even though my Knicks beat your Bulls last night, you still think so terrible.
Emre Bilgin. Not Emre Bilgin. Emre Demir. Now I make.
Yeah, Emre Demir.
Bilgin is
that's right.
I think Emre Bilgin is still under contract with us.
Yeah,
is he at Fatih Karagümrük still?
We had him loaned out.
Yeah, I mean,
Nasser says
he was pretty good. I thought.
Nasser says that Jordan Pickford is the same height as the player mentioned, Göktuğ again.
And it's often a disadvantage even for Jordan Pickford. There's a reason he plays for Everton and not for a top club in the world. Even though he's been England's number one for many years. I mean, he's an excellent goalkeeper, of course.
Yeah, I mean, there's this keeper who played for Millonarios for a long time named Fariñez, and his stats were ridiculous, but he's like a real little guy.
I thought you were going to be jumping on the David Ospina bandwagon again.
No,
he was coming for about 10 years to Beşiktaş, David Ospina.
Yeah, he was on his way.
God,
I'm surprised. I think it took him having didn't he have a brain, his head split open in a game? And that's what finally took. It took that for us to finally be taken off of his list. But
yeah, he had something. I don't remember exactly.
But yeah, there's this kid Fariñez who was always extremely talented, but so short that I think he might have finally gotten a chance in Europe recently, for a small club. But
I mean, arguably our best goalkeeper, Oscar Cordoba, was only 185. So I mean. And Fabri wasn't much
on the shorter side.
Wasn't even that tall. I think he was listed officially, varying where you looked. He was listed at 185 to 183. I think 183 is on the high end of how tall Fabri was, and he was probably our best goalkeeper since Cordoba. So
184 it says on
Yeah.
transfer
I
market.
know, but it's
What is that? Is that like 6 foot?
It's
that's
just
like
over-
6'1", I think.
They're
Yeah,
six foot.
that's okay.
So
Yeah, 6 foot's like 181, right?
183. So he's just
183, okay.
6 foot.
I think he is 6 foot.
I think that's about where you. That's about the sort of minimum where you want your
No,
keeper.
that's,
Right?
too,
Like,
that's too small, man. That's too small.
even that,
I
you
think
that's
like
even
the
too small?
minimum for like a modern day goalkeeper is like 6'2", like 188 at the very very minimum, I think.
Nasser says these players need the same doctor as Messi and them growth hormones.
That definitely
I mean
works.
Goku would could use some for sure. Anyway, I mean, I guess that's about it,
Yeah.
guys. I think we've pretty much covered all of our bases.
Definitely.
Any other comments before we wrap things up? Get your comments in, folks. Meanwhile, I think it's probably important for us to note that Beşiktaş has some very important matches upcoming. For those of you new to the club, Nasser, check out those cup matches. You'll find them on Kartal. Was it
Aspor, ATV.
Eyüpspor?
We'll put the link.
I tell
We'll
you,
put the link in the group chats.
Oh
for
shit!
people.
I said the game was on Wednesday. It's been changed again. It's on
Really?
Tuesday. This is important. Not only is it on Tuesday, so it's on Tuesday, February 25th. It's also at 7 a.m. here in New York, so it's a quite early game.
Before we go out, by the way, should we have a look maybe at Settle Adala's statements? Because he went
yeah.
live right
Yeah, do it.
after
Do
right
it.
after
Let's
the
do it.
game. So he had some stuff to say, including about the foreign referee for the derby. I'm just trying to find a good account where I can find the quotes. Solskjær quote. Solskjær. Is there no?
But anyway, so yeah, stay tuned, folks. Tuesday, real early. Check your local listings.
Well, anyway,
Must be 3
he
p.m.
said. Oh, somebody said something about Arda, by the way. Like kudos to Arda for what he said after the match.
Oh, yeah, I saw that comment.
And here's a short quote from Arda Turan, the coach of Eyüpspor. Beşiktaş played
Galen.
better than us. They wanted the match more than us. So yeah, he just gave credit for us winning and said, Beşiktaş hak etti, and we won deservedly. And
He's changing my opinion of him
yeah.
slowly.
So well, anyway, what Settle Adala had to say after the match in his press conference, he said, well, if Fenerbahce and Galatasaray are going to have a foreign referee for the derby, then we also want foreign referees for all our derbies going
Hell
forward.
yeah.
And of course, with it,
All of our matches, hell. Let's make
I mean,
it up.
and
You know what? I had a thought. This is revolutionary, but I feel like there should be like a rotation, maybe like UEFA. But so all of a nation's referees get rotated every year to a different country, around the maybe European map. Because it would be great if we had Danish referees one year and then Swedish ones the next. I mean, it would be a little hard as far as consistency. I think that has to be established over the course of a season.
Our next Galatasaray derby, I want Anthony Taylor.
Hell yeah.
Because he'll spot them dives, man. And I think Trabzonspor should make a similar statement, because I think if Fenerbahce and Galatasaray are the teams that are always getting privileged treatment from the referees, they're always getting pulled ahead by the referees, and it's, I think, a little ironic that they are the ones that are getting a foreign referee now, because they're the ones who created this whole referee mess in the first place by constantly putting exorbitant amount of outside pressure on these referees to make favorable calls in their favor, which has completely skewed the league. And that brings me to this next point. I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like, as a Beşiktaş fan, I'm watching Beşiktaş for 25 or so years. I always feel like referees are deliberately sometimes fucking us, very often. Have you guys also had this feeling, ever since, the last couple of, I don't know, months even? The refs have been very uncharacteristically nice to us.
Chill.
To the extent of giving us favorable calls even. Against Rizespor, I think there was like a penalty they didn't give, like a clear one, and like we've had a couple of those.
Bodrum was the game.
Was
that
it
was a bit.
Bodrum? So like we were getting almost the Fenerbahce Galatasaray treatment, and that makes me feel first and foremost super iffy, and also paranoid to the extent that today I thought the ref there wasn't I think a single moment where I was like, ref, come on. And I just thought to myself, is he like just fucking my head? Because it's like, is the ref like favoring us here, or like I'm like almost getting paranoid about that?
I would say I don't think we've been favored, but we've been treated fairly. Where like 50-50 calls sometimes go for you, sometimes they go against you. They actually have gone for us like a couple times, which is crazy.
That's the thing, though, Sinan. So like it's come to a point
it's weird.
where I think
you expect the worst,
where
right?
I think
so when you don't get it,
you get a referee that calls a match down the middle, and you're like almost like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like
I think the only game where we got kind of saved by the referees a bit was the Bodrum game.
Rize I think as well, though. No, I don't remember vividly, but I remember coming out of that match thinking,
I mean, Rize were much better than us, but I can't remember. Maybe you're right, bro. It was the game like over a month and a half ago now, so I can't remember.
Can you imagine a Galatasaray fan saying what I just said? Oh wait, the guy on Reddit.
I will say this though, Khan. Like, you know why I don't want to say anything about this? Why I've sort of been quiet? Is part of me feels like as soon as we kind of, quote unquote, matter again.
Yeah, exactly. Like next season,
we'll probably start getting fucked right again.
We all start at 0 again. Then it's back off to the races again with
the first consequential decision where it's like, oh my god, we like if we score here we're like fully in the race, like offside. That's some bullshit. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Nasser says, I'm hoping to see a bit of rotation against Antalyaspor. I think you will, since it's a cup game and midweek between, and with the league being as important as it is for us as we're sort of building form.
Don't undersell the cup, man. Like that's our only chance of the trophy this season, and it's the easiest route to do.
Have we not already guaranteed like going through?
I think so.
Because it is a group stage now, right? I don't. Maybe we'll see a little bit of a what the hecky Molu. Up front. I don't know.
I want to see Keny Arroyo and Ellen Ricardo play the field.
Oh, that'd be great.
Or at least get a start. That would be nice. And maybe Amir as well. Give Jetson some rest.
Jetson needs.
Maybe give Rafa. Maybe give Rafa a little bit of rest. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe even João Mário, but I almost don't want him to. He should stay on the pitch. Maybe I don't want to stay. Do what you're doing.
You don't want to change too much. You definitely rest Rasicka because otherwise he'll break something again.
Fair enough. Maybe, if Paulista's ready to come back, maybe don't bring him back. Stuff like that. But I'm sure you'll see some rotation last there. I think we're all hoping for it to some extent, but within reason, because you also want to maintain form. So you got to be somewhat sparing with it.
David Costa? I only know Diogo Costa. Who's David Costa?
David Coote.
Oh, Coote. Oh, I read it as Costa. Jesus, see that just goes to show you how shit guys are. But Diogo Costa.
It's all right.
New goalkeeper.
The referee that was sacked because there was a video of him.
I seen that. I saw that.
Saying it's an arsehole or whatever.
I saw that.
Nasser, so Grey Wolf, we were joking about the refs, Michael Oliver, because the team's not a threat. He said Adal's a mafia guy. I don't know anything about that. I don't want to get targeted. I hope that's not true. David Coote. And then Nasser says, how does the Turkish Cup format work? Does the top 2 teams in the group go to the next round? Do they?
It's like a mini.
So by the way, Nasser, this cup has changed format. It's almost like a yearly. It's like the NBA All-Star game. They're just trying new things every year. I don't know. I think it's the top 2.
It's like a wannabe Europa/Champions League format where you're like with 6 teams in a pool. You only play 3 teams or something once. And we play.
I think it depends on the other groups too.
We played our first game away at Sivas, our second game at home against Kirkcaldy, and now our third game and our last game away against Antalya. So uneven numbers.
But
even
yeah,
in terms
the
of-
good news is we've won the first two.
Yeah.
So,
And I think
we're
Sivasspor they played a player. They won their game, their second match, but they played a player that was supposed to be suspended. So I think they might.
amateur.
So I
hour.
think they might have gotten stripped of their points. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they might have. But yeah.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, Sivas. Who did we know? Didn't we know a guy from Sivas? Was that the dude who lived in Belgium, right?
We know a guy.
Emre Can?
You know a guy from Sivas?
Anyway. Wasn't he originally from Sivas? It doesn't matter.
know.
Anyway.
Was Janires from?
I can't remember what I do know.
You...
Mehmet J was from Sivas originally.
Oh, Mehmet J.
No, but Karto wasn't the dude who was in the group chat for a while on the left, and then he lived in Belgium near Cannes.
Yeah, Emre.
And he was kind of like traveling around by himself. Wasn't he from Sivas
I
originally?
think so.
I think he lived in Izmir, I'm sure.
I think he lived in Izmir, yeah, because that's where he got into trouble.
Someone was always saying that their koi was Sivas, their hometown. I don't. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. What are we doing here?
Sivas
On air.
Kandal.
We can do this. We can do this on our own. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Chat. We're done. Everyone's been addressed.
Yeah.
Diplomatically, democratically.
Smash that like button, guys. If you're not yet subscribe. Go check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Besiktas podcast. We constantly refer to our group chat. If you want to be part of the non-toxic group chat, because we also have that other group chat, it's a little bit more toxic. If you want to be part of the fun group chat, the community, the WhatsApp community, the Black Eagles WhatsApp community, go to Patreon, sign up, become a member. You don't have to be a paid member. In fact, you can just be a free member, and then you gain access to the pinned comment. The link is there. The reason we hide it behind a registration is because we were getting a shit ton of like crypto scammer bots joining our channel all the time when we had the link out in public. So now we put it like behind like a registration wall. But you only have to register. You can link your Google account or something to Patreon. Just register, become a free member, and then hop on. But do consider supporting us on there because it's only $1.99 a month. So like €2, £2, whatever, wherever you live, $2. That's like less than a cup of coffee, guys, and you get a shit ton in return. Other than supporting us financially, which really helps. When
cup of coffee,
but it's just it's just $2, and you get an extra VIP podcast every week. During the busy periods like the transfer and in the summer and stuff, you'll get like 3 to 4 podcasts. There's going to be watch-alongs on there. You get early access to videos such as like the Black Eagle stories that are on our channel, and all that kind of stuff. You get early access. The Schwarding report. Me and Kartel are planning to do some watch-alongs at some point. So all fun stuff. So go and check that out, our Patreon. Become a member. Try it out for free, 7 days. And if you like it, stick around. Again, just $2, $1.99 a month. So it's really nothing. Means the world to us though, because the more people get on there, that really helps out a lot.
Yeah, and I figure my Schwarding report could be like a monthly, like overview of the club, the board, how things are operating. It just sort of conveniently worked out that it started with sort of judging the current board just as they set up, so it could kind of maintain that role as keeping a checks and balances on these bastards. No, honestly, Adala is doing a pretty decent job. I should give him credit. I will perhaps in the next Schwarding report, unless he drops the ball. I got my eyes on you, Serdal. Anyway, as always, stay tuned, folks. We will be back. We have a match on Tuesday, very early. So, there's a distinct chance we could be here after that episode, after that match, since it's so early in the day. I don't know. We'll have to be. We'll be in touch on that. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, too. If it's just a throwaway match, perhaps we treat it as such. Anyway, we will be back soon. If not next Tuesday or Wednesday, certainly we'll be back at the usual scheduled time after our next league match, which is going to be against, as we said, Eyüpspor. Currently scheduled for Saturday at 12:30 here, so it's half an hour later than today's starting time. Next Saturday,
So 6:30
at home
Central
against
European time.
Kayseri.
That will be 8:30 in Turkey. That's an interesting kickoff.
And we're at home against Kayserispor. So if you're in Turkey, fill that stadium up, folks. Ole deserves it, as well as maybe Keny. Keny could be getting his first start against Kayseri. Maybe if he plays well against Antalya. Anyway, be in touch. Stay tuned. We will be back as always. Let's go Besiktas! Peace out, everybody.
Check out the names
hold on. I got some
coming on the screen.
I got some
If
names.
you want your
to read.
name up
Don't
there.
leave. Yeah, and you want a
Subscribe to our
special
Patreon.
nickname or a shout out. Excuse me. Ozkan Derzavati. Our guy up north. Ati is a bull. Malak. Sorry about last night. Let's go, Nick. Paul O'Connor. Make yourself known, my friend. I want to give you a nickname. Nathan, Mr. Colorado Davis, my guy. On the my fellow gringo. The Finnish kebab. Living it up over there in Finland. Tristan Cray, Michael Berry, Dara, the Irishman, Henty, Mario, 1 and a 2 and a 3, Vargas, where were you, sir? Senor, Niall Tariq, Sebastian, the not sporting director, Heineth, the vigilante Turk, with the eagle emoji, my guy, always dropping the eagle emoji, right back at you. Nasser, the man from Man U. And of course, the indomitable, indefatigable Dutch Eagle shouts out to our man Ural. Peace out, everybody. See you next time.